right, Montrell. So, happy Saturday, first of all.
I know, right?
I don't remember. What was the last time we recorded on a Saturday? Like, have we ever done
I
that
think
before? I feel like
I
we've
think
done
this
it
is our first
once.
time. This is our
Yeah, you
first
might be
time, I
right.
believe.
You might be right. You might be right. But
Usually Friday was our fallback day.
yeah, or we would do earlier in the week if it was like a, just like a spoiler cast or something evergreen usually. So,
Yeah.
dude, have you been paying attention to so every so often Tyler one comes across my feed on YouTube?
hmm
And have you heard of this WoW hardcore thing that Soda Poppin's doing called OnlyFangs?
I I haven't heard of. I have seen Tyler doing the WoW stuff, but I didn't know he was doing hardcore.
Yeah, so Soda Poppin did this last year, but I guess he's doing this every time that Blizzard does like fresh hardcore servers. Is he gets a whole bunch of streamers together and they make a guild, like a huge guild of just streamers. And they play hardcore together. So like they're all on hardcore. They're not playing normal classic. So Tyler was invited this time, and he joined. And this is his first time playing World of Warcraft. Like he's never played the fucking game before somehow. So he's like a total fresh noob, and he's playing Warrior, which makes sense for Tyler, right? From a personality standpoint, but it's like one of the worst classes probably to learn the game on, because you're inherently going to have to tank shit. And so this is starting to become a meme a bit where Tyler has not died yet. He's still on his first character, I believe. I think he's like level 55 or something. But he has done a bunch of dungeon runs, and I think he's up to 4 people, it might even be 5 people have died in dungeons with him now. And they've mostly been his fault, like to some degree. But the thing is, like, it's not really his fault in the sense that like it's knowledge gaps that he doesn't have. Like he doesn't understand the game, so people are not explaining the mechanics to him very well in a way that he can understand. Because there was a clip the other day I was listening to. He doesn't even know what threat is. Like he doesn't understand the concept of threat in an MMO. So so it's like he's tanking and he doesn't understand that concept. That's kind of a problem. So dude, he's up to like 4 or 5 deaths, and this is becoming like a meme. Like you go in a dungeon run with Tyler, you're gonna fucking die. So it's like dude, there was the last one that happened, I think this happened last night, was he was in a dungeon. They did the dungeon successfully. I think it was Maraudon, which is like high 40s, low 50s maybe, dungeon. And they did the whole dungeon, and then they were hearthing out, and one of their people was using astral recall instead of their hearthstone. It was a shaman. And there was a patrol that came and aggroed his fucking totems that
Oh
he had put
no!
down for the boss, and he got put into combat. And astral recall can't be cast in combat. Hearthstone can. He wasn't casting Hearthstone. He was casting astral recall. So he got fucking stuck. All the other 4 people left, and the fucking mobs, the patrol came and killed him. Like they chased him down and killed him.
Oh
Everybody's gone.
no!
And it happened, dude. It was so wild. It was the stars fucking aligned. It was crazy because everybody else, like he went into combat, and everybody else, like within a second, hearthed out. Like they were all
Oh,
gone, so there was no chance for them to react really to it. So the guy just got fucked. Like he should have used Hearthstone. I don't know why he didn't. He was using Astral Recall, but yeah, dude, so Tyler's been in these funny situations. There was another one in Sunken Temple where 2 people died because Tyler didn't understand the boss mechanics. And he kept getting slept by the boss, so he wasn't able to tank. Obviously, he's getting CC'd. And then, yeah, the healer died, and then they had a second person die. I think it was a rogue that died to the boss. And man, it's becoming hilarious to watch. Like everybody who goes on these dungeon runs with Tyler is dying, and like people in his comments are like, "Man, Tyler's up to a 5-0 KDA. Man, he's got a 5 KDA or something." And they're like, "He's running it down mid, boys." Something like that. So, and Tyler's sitting there, he's like yelling at people and shit. He's like doing his Tyler thing. But it's funny as hell, man. It's super funny. I don't know. It's kind of like I'm not really like in it. I'm not like watching it all the time or anything. But when these clips are hitting me on YouTube, I'm jumping in there, and the ones with Tyler are hilarious. So it's
hey
definitely.
man! I tell everybody, Tyler One is what people think Doctor Disrespect is, bro.
Mhm.
That guy is fucking hilarious. I
Oh my
love his
god.
streams.
Yeah, man. No, he was like out running around like questing, and I think one of his guildmates showed up and was like just said hello to him, and he was like get away from me, pussy, I don't need your help, get away from me or something. And the dude was like, bro, I'm just here gathering herbs, all right man, chill, whatever. Because they have this
Because
mod that enables proximity chat in game, so like
okay,
they can talk to each other through the game, which is kind of cool actually. So yeah, he's like talking shit to his own guildmates and stuff. It's fucking hilarious, man.
you know why? Because when he first joined, he could not do a quest without someone trying to help him. It was
Yeah,
like crowds
yeah.
of people following him.
Oh my god,
It's,
yeah. Oh
so
yeah,
he has
I'm
like
sure.
that PTSD like built in because like
Yeah, yeah.
it
People
was
following him
like
around.
almost to like level 15 or 20. People were just following him around and shit like that. He had to go
Oh
to a
my
less
god,
populated server.
that's
It was
crazy.
fucking hilarious.
That's funny as hell. So no, it's just kind of fun to watch. Watch somebody learn World of Warcraft on hardcore of all things too is fucking insane. Like completely crazy. Grubby's actually doing it too, which is funny. Like this thing is huge. There's like a ton of streamers involved in this right now, which is it's actually a lot of fun to watch. But they're planning on like trying to do raids and stuff, which is gonna be like amazing. I'm sure it's gonna be hilarious to watch. So yeah, that's going on. But yeah, what we're here for though today is the game awards. So this happened while we were recording on Thursday, and we both had a chance to watch it front to back. And so this is gonna be a weird episode. This isn't episode 301. We're not gonna label this reflections. I'm basically just gonna call it episode 300 part 2 because that's pretty much what it is. We didn't want to
300.5.
Yeah, we didn't want to do a pickup on Thursday. It was too late in the evening when the show was finished, and we had time to watch it. I actually watched it Thursday. I got finished with it around 11:30, but that would have been way too late to record anything. So, and I couldn't record yesterday. So here we are, Saturday, recording. So Montreal, I mean, let's just jump right into it. We got a lot to talk about. Do you want to talk about overall thoughts first on the show, or just
Uh,
jump right into the games?
Overall, I thought the presentation of the show was actually really good.
Yeah,
This is probably his best one. Minus the actual like announcement and stuff like that. I think
yeah,
presentation wise, this was his best show so far. All this presentations since 2014 when he first started has been like lackluster, but this
yeah,
one felt like an actual award show, if that makes any sense,
yeah.
but also celebrating games. And it wasn't as cringe. They didn't have a lot of cringe moments on here.
No,
In
no.
my opinion.
They had their like celebrities come out, but yeah, there wasn't anything like super cringe. There were a couple moments that were a
Yeah, it was a
little,
couple of moments.
but some bits they were trying to do that just were like, oh my god, get on with this already.
Yeah, exactly.
But overall, I think in terms of announcements, this is probably the best show he's ever done. Period. All right, sorry, we're back. We had technical difficulties. I unplugged my mic accidentally. So jumping back into it. So talking about the show overall. So yeah, I think this was the best show that I think they've done, that Jeff's done, period, whether that's Summer Games Fest or the Game Awards, in terms of announcements for sure. In terms of the actual award show, I mean, I watched most of it, to be fair. I actually didn't skip a ton of stuff, even the musical performances. I skipped a couple of them. I didn't listen to everything, but there so but I think for the most part it was a fairly engaging show. There were some
Yeah.
funny moments for sure. Like one of my favorites was at the beginning when he mentioned Ken Kutaragi. Ken tried to get on stage. Like I thought he was supposed to say something, and Jeff just blew past that, and nothing. He didn't get on stage or anything, but that was pretty funny. And then there was oh my god, there was all the shows. Snoop Dogg. Snoop came out with I think it was a new track, right? That he performed live.
Yeah, yeah.
So there were some big gets. I feel like Jeff's got a lot of pull, man. Like it's kind of crazy. He's definitely built this into something that's like noticed outside of video games,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of celebrities here that were not that aren't have nothing to do with the game industry that were here. So yeah, I think it was a good show overall. But you want to just jump right into the games? We got a lot of games to cover now.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so there was a pre-show, like 30-minute pre-show where he announced a bunch of shit. or a bunch of stuff was announced. Is there anything in this list, Montrell, you want to talk about? Slay the Spire 2 or
The one that really upset me, to be honest with you, was the Ninja Gaiden one. A lot of people were upset by this Ninja Gaiden one, and I understand Ninja Gaiden, started off as a 2D side
yeah,
scrolling game. I mean, I played it,
yeah,
but I think now, and this is somebody who grew up in the era of like Genesis and Nintendo or
mhm,
Super Nintendo. I think now even people of my age are like, we know Ryu Hayabusa as the Ninja Gaiden from, Ninja Gaiden Black or Ninja Gaiden Sigma or something of that nature. We don't
right.
we don't associate him with the 2D side scrolling Ninja Gaiden where it all started. So this was kind of like a slap in the face. I don't know if it was a slap in the face, but it was like not really wanted, if that makes any sense. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna want to play this, but I was really kind of like turned off by it. I was just like, oh, this is what you guys are showing me. It kind of turned me off
Well,
to almost the entire
w-
Game Wars, to be honest with you.
why
You know, I,
though? Like, I guess is it because of the character thing? Because the game looks good.
I mean, because people have been asking for the 3D version of Ninja Gaiden,
I
the
see. So it's the
action.
fact that it's 2D. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Well,
I mean, the game looks good.
this isn't being made by Team Ninja
Team
either,
Ninja, yeah, it's not.
which
It's
is
being made by someone else.
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that
So
Koei's giving this IP out. Also, I guess Team Ninja doesn't want to make a 2D side scroller though, so I guess that makes sense. But I mean, in terms of gameplay though, I think it looks pretty good personally. But
no, it looks
I'm not
good. It's
I've never
not what
played
I
any of these
expected.
though. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just not what I expected for the Ninja Gaiden series or whatever. I mean, it's always been like a really fast, constant scrolling, side scrolling, like hack and
yeah,
slash.
yeah,
But it's just not, like I said, just not what a lot of people wanted. Um, and I'm actually glad this genre is like making a comeback over the last 5 years. It's been coming back,
yeah.
but I didn't want this from Ninja Gaiden. Like, it didn't make any sense for. I understood why Prince of Persia went back to it, but even then they did like a 2.5D.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why. I don't understand why Ninja Gaiden did it. Ninja Gaiden always had like a very strong 3D action platform case,
Hmm.
and I think a lot of people wanted them to go back to it, especially after they've been doing like the Neo games and stuff like that. We just really wanted to see how you can go back and do a Ninja Gaiden game, but uh unfortunately that's not happening right now. So
Yeah. Okay. Anything else from that early show? Um,
um Solesta or
it's just
Solasta.
Solasta too, yeah, or
Yeah, that
Solasta.
looks really
I don't know.
cool. I think I might want to invest in that when that comes out, and I think Rematch looks really cool as well.
Yeah, and then there's Thick as Thieves, which is from Warren Spector, who is the creator of Deus Ex. So
Hmm.
also Epic Mickey. He's a pretty famous game designer. So looks kind of interesting. It's a first person. It looks like it might be a co-op game. I'm not sure, um, but yeah. So there's a few things I just don't understand why they are putting um why they have this 30 minutes of announcements before the show. Obviously they don't want to make the show longer, but dude, it's so awkward to consume, because it's like you show up and you want to talk about, you want to look at the announcements, and it's like split so weirdly. You have like a whole shitload of announcements in 30 minutes, and then you have 3.5 hours for like the same number of announcements. It's like
Yeah.
it is kind of weird. So, but let's get into the main show though. So yeah, this was a big show. The first thing announced was The Witcher 4 from CD Projekt, where we got to see Ciri hunting a monster. And some people were saying that Geralt appeared in the trailer. I didn't see that personally, so I haven't
Oh
gone
my
back and
god,
looked.
bro.
But
People are upset by it. There was a subset of people who are trying to make this thing a big deal, and I'm glad it didn't catch on.
yeah,
And people
are
were,
they like, is this like a woke argument, or like what is
yes,
the argument
yes,
here? What is wrong with
yes.
people? Like this is the
It was
most
the
this
woke
is the most
argument.
natural place for the series to go. if you've played any of the games and you've read the
Any of the
books,
games, any of the
yeah,
books.
you've read the books. This is the most natural place for this series to go, is for Ciri to become the main character. If they want to get away from Geralt, like, she's the next in line who would be the most sensible protagonist. Like, that's crazy
Nah,
if you think that. Like, you're fucking
not
stupid.
according to a lot of other people, man. They're like, oh, they
Oh
they
my
they push
god.
Geralt aside for the woman. It's like, what are
I
you
did
talking
see,
about?
dude. I did see some people saying she looks ugly too, which was like,
Yeah,
I'm
I was
like,
like,
I'm
bro, what
like,
are you talking
dude,
about?
do men even like women anymore? Like, what? What is wrong with y'all? Like, holy shit, man! Like, oh my god, dude.
Bro, they were comparing her. I saw someone compare. Like, I didn't even get on Twitter, but I got on Twitter for this, right? Because I was like, I just want to know what those people were saying about it. And then,
Hmm.
like, yeah, someone put a side by side of like the old Siri model compared to this Siri model. It was like, see, her jawline's a little bit more manly now,
Yeah,
and she
she's
looks a little bit
older
more dirty.
though.
She's a little bit more dirty in the
She's
face, and her
clearly,
face is not
she's
as skin.
clearly, she's clearly bulkier. Like, they clearly bulked her up too, like muscle wise. Like, she has a bigger build for sure. But she's
But
also
she's
very likely a lot
fucking
older,
richer.
and she's a
Yeah,
witcher. And she, I presumably went through the Witcher Trial of the Grasses, which changes you, significantly. If you go
yeah.
through that, so it's like, yeah, the fact that she looks different isn't a big surprise.
But she
Yeah, in The
doesn't look
Witcher
like
3,
manly though.
no,
I
I
don't
don't
think she
think
look
so
manly.
either. I don't think so either. I like in The Witcher 3, I think her Witcher 3 model is certainly better looking personally, but it's
Yeah.
like, but it's not like she's ugly now. It's crazy, man. I don't know. People are fucking weird, bro. I don't know, man. But in terms of the trailer itself, like, I mean, it was just a cinematic trailer. There was no gameplay, so we don't
Yeah.
have anything to kind of grab onto there. We also didn't get a release date or release window or anything for it, so I wouldn't expect this game in the next year, maybe even two. It's probably 2026 at the earliest, I would think. But
I would
um,
say though, watching this gameplay, watching this cinematic trailer, I was like, damn, I gotta play The Witcher again now.
yeah, well, dude, if only the gameplay played like that, the way it looks in those cinematics, like, because I mean, it's exciting. I think the idea of continuing, I'm glad, because there was a rumor early on when this game was being early in development that it wasn't going to be Geralt, but it wasn't going to be anybody we knew. It was going to be somebody totally new, and I was totally not for that. Um, I think this series would have. I think this game would have struggled to get away from the existing cast too much, because Ciri, Geralt, Yennefer, Triss, and Dandelion, and all these characters that we know from these games, like, they are what make the games fun, frankly. They're
Hmm.
a huge part of the reason the games have so much charm, and I feel like I don't know if CD Projekt would have been able to replace all these characters with something new in a way that would have made it feel like The Witcher still. So I think it's the right decision to continue with Ciri and existing characters. So I mean, I'm hyped for it. I don't have anything to base it off of, obviously, but it's like, I mean, I trust them to make a good game. Obviously, Cyberpunk was what it was, but I,
Yep.
I do I do expect them to have learned a lesson there. CD Projekt is the type of studio I think would take a lesson out of that and won't repeat that mistake again. So, um, I don't know. What do you think? Any other thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the trailer got me hyped just to play Richard 3 again, even though the gameplay is not anything like over like the trailer. But I don't know. I think they're actually going to take the game. It looks like from what I'm seeing, they're probably going to try to take the gameplay in a different direction. Even when you play as Siri, like for like 10 minutes in the Richard 3, I
Yeah.
loved her gameplay, and I was like, man, if they can make that like her gameplay in the actual
Mm,
her own game, I would
yeah.
love for them to flesh it out more.
Yeah, well, so that's the interesting part, because she is in the lore. She's a child of the Elder Blood, which gives her space and time powers.
Hmm.
So in The Witcher 3, I mean, we see this with her in The Witcher 3, where she's kind of like jumping between dimensions and shit. And when you play as her, she's like got the ability to like teleport basically as her dodge. Which they didn't show any of that in the trailer. So people are speculating that maybe she's lost her powers potentially in some way, maybe becoming a witcher, removed the rest of her elder blood and kind of took those powers with it. potentially. So we'll see there. If she has those powers, it would be very interesting how they inform gameplay, because she would play very differently from the rest of the games in terms of what we've played with Geralt, up to this point. So well, I'll be interested to see what they do with that for sure. I'm eager to see gameplay, certainly, but I don't think we're going to see that for a while. So, all right. Anything else you want to say on Witcher?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Next game they showed. I mean, he started the show off with a bang with these two. Honestly, these are really big announcements, both of these.
Yeah.
This next one was honestly a pretty big surprise. From is just kind of like pumping games out, man. So Elden Ring Night Rain is going to be a co-op PvE game that is coming in 2025, and the trailer definitely showed some gameplay. It looks a little different from Elden Ring. There seemed to be a parry in there that was a little bit more akin to Sekiro, and it looked like the speed was a little faster too than traditionally what I've seen from Elden Ring personally. But
Yeah, no, you're
there
right.
has been interviews going around. IGN did a huge interview with the game director that kind of gave a lot of information. So they seem very focused on this game being it's either you can play it solo or you can play it with 3 people. You will
And
not
it's
be able to
not.
do
They did confirm that it's not live service, so
yes.
that is
No duos, so it's either 1 or 3 you're playing with. And yeah, no, it's not a live service game. They said if you buy the game, you get the full game, meaning they're trying to build the game in such a way where it's content complete when you buy it. So there won't be like additional cost potentially. I'm sure there might be DLC at some point potentially if it's popular enough. They may do something like that, but they're not planning on treating this like Apex or Fortnite or something where they're doing constant updates. That doesn't sound like what they're trying to do here. They just want to make a co-op multiplayer game, basically. It sounds, based on the interview, it doesn't sound super robust. I'm gonna be honest. They said you don't make your own character. It doesn't sound like you like pick from 8 kind of existing characters that have different starting classes, something along those lines. You might be able to customize the look of the character, certainly, but I think you have to like live within the bounds of those 8, kind of starting points for your characters.
Mhm.
And then you kind of build your character out from there. So and then they said there's something along the lines of like it's kind of a there's like 3 days or something that you have to play through, and at the end of the 3rd day you fight a boss, and they said there's I think they're planning to have 8 bosses. So it doesn't sound like this game is going to be humongous, but I'm sure we'll see more. I mean, if it's coming to 2025, I'm sure they're going to be talking about this more in the coming months, so we'll see more of it. But I mean, Montreal, co-op FromSoft game, like full co-op FromSoft game. They've always dabbled in co-op, but we're getting an actual full co-op game from them.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the gameplay, I looked at the trailer again. I watched it because I was on a car ride to one of my my job meeting or whatever to Waco, and I was watching this. So I watched the first half of this. Um, but yeah, I did see the parry, the Sekiro parry in there and everything. I don't know if that's like a skill,
Yeah.
because like Elden Ring has like they call them Ashes of War, which are pretty much like skills that you have, and you can like
Hmm.
swap them out and stuff like that for your character.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's an Ash of War or if that's and your weapons have skills as well. So I don't know if that's a weapon skill or if that's like a character skill. I actually do like that. I know people are going to hate it, but I actually do like that there's like 8 set characters or whatever, and you just build on those characters. Um, I don't need a whole full fledged RPG, which is I know why a lot of people. The reason why this game is having a lot of controversy right now, a lot of people don't like it, is because of that right there. Um, Dark Soul, Elden Ring fans who only play like those games love their little fucking builds and shit like that. And ooh, wow, okay,
Hmm.
I fucking cheese this the best. Ooh, like min maxing and everything like that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like, and you know what? I don't fucking care. When it comes to a real game like fucking Sekiro, they buckle at the knees because you have to conform to what the game is giving you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think this game is trying to blend both of those worlds of like because even which is surprising, but even Bloodborne even though you can have a build in there, it's not necessarily a build-esque type game, if that makes any sense. You still have to know how to play within the mechanics of the game in Bloodborne. But I think because
Yeah.
there is some kind of type of building in that game, people let it slide, whereas they didn't let Sekiro slide, in my opinion. So I when I saw that the game was faster, I even thought this in the car when I saw this. I'm like, oh, people are about to hate this shit because the gameplay is faster. I didn't know about the character limit or like not building characters, but I just knew from the being faster that people were going to hate it.
Yeah.
And it is getting a lot of hate, or not a lot of hate, but like a lot of people who just loved Elden Ring are not liking this game, or who just love Dark Souls are not liking this game at all.
Hmm. Yeah. Which I mean, I don't know. I can understand that, but I just feels I feel like I feel like Souls fans, this like there's like this small group of them, right? Because I mean, Elden Ring was huge. This is like a game that sold 30 million copies. So we're talking
Yeah,
about a very small subset of people, I think, nowadays. That
yeah, yep,
this hardcore, like the OG Souls fans who have been here since the beginning with like Demon Souls and Dark Souls. I think these people are just way too rigid in the way they think about game design. They're not willing to even like go like if From colors outside the lines even slightly, they're not interested, you know. And it's like they're the ones talking about like, oh, it's all about skill, blah blah blah. And like you said, when they play Sekiro, they can't beat Sekiro. They like buckle at the knees, you know, because the game requires actual skill. Like I don't know where this mentality came from with an RPG where you can grind that you know that Dark Souls requires a huge amount of skill. Like you can outlevel anything in these games. That's always been true. I'm not saying people necessarily play it like that, but I'm sure a lot of people do, you know, to get through it. If they're
yeah. A
not
lot of people
capable of
do
beating
it.
the bosses, like you can go grind, you know?
Yeah, in Elden Ring, I feel like the reason why Elden Ring was so successful was because it allowed it. It was more open to it, if that makes any sense.
There's so much
You can
content, it was very easy to go do that, right? Yeah.
exactly, if you couldn't beat a boss, you can go explore other places, level up, then come back and beat that boss. Whereas Dark Souls and Demon Souls had a very limited framework in which you can grind and beat the boss. So you had to learn the boss in like Dark Souls and Demon Souls. Um, whether it be you grind it or not. Now there was some cheese methods, but Elden Ring allowed for more fluidity is in the way you tackle bosses compared to the other its previous games or whatever. And I will go on record in saying Sekiro was the strictest one. It did not allow you to do that. You had to learn the boss, or you just don't
Right.
play the game anymore. So
Right, there was no cheese method, there was no build you could do, there was no grinding.
yeah,
You either could do the mechanics or you couldn't. You know, it was like
exactly,
it was
yeah,
pretty simple. So yeah, I don't know. So I don't see a reason to be critical here. It sounds like you know, because this isn't being directed by Miyazaki. He basically greenlit this, is what it sounds like. The director said, I think it's a woman who's the director. I think she said that she had an idea that she wanted to do like a co-op kind of Elden Ring spin-off, and Miyazaki greenlit it. And he was involved very early on, and then let them go after that. So this is kind of an offshoot game, it sounds like, and it doesn't sound like it's huge. Like they're keeping the scope. I think they're keeping the scope smartly. I think keeping the scope small so the game doesn't get out of hand. You know. And as a result, I think it's going to be a very tight game, probably, and it's probably going to be something that you can beat in 30 to 50 hours and you're done. You know, if you want. And there will be some replayability with playing with different characters and different builds, but it doesn't sound like there's going to be a huge amount of variation necessarily. They did say she did say the maps are going to be randomized somewhat, but they are based on I think the Limgrave tile set though. So you're going to be seeing the same kind of environments, just sort of randomized to some degree. So I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in this personally. I mean, like me, you, and DJ. I don't know. I don't know if DJ even played Elden Ring, but you know, if we wanted to jump in and do this as a three players and we just play 30 hours and get done with it, you know, that's cool with me. That's perfect. Like I'm not looking for this like endless experience necessarily that we play fucking forever. You know. Um,
yeah.
so this has appeal to me personally, actually.
Yeah, I actually might play this instead of like the whole fucking DLC for Elden Ring. I might play
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
just because it sounds like a more shorter experience, like maybe a 30-hour experience that I can play and then, put down or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. Okay. Let's move on to the next game, which was Project Robot. This was from the Shadow of the Colossus creator, Fumito Ueda. And
Mhm.
it's in the works. It was just another cinematic trailer. It did show basically was like a giant like black shockwave was coming, and the character was climbing a robot, and they got on the top of the robot, and then they tried to like take off with the head or whatever, and it doesn't seem like they were successful. By the end of the trailer they got blown away in the shockwave or whatever. But so there's not a lot to go off of here. This is kind of one of those really early teasers where it's very unclear what the game necessarily is going to be about. But what did you take away from this one?
To be honest with you, I really wasn't too hyped for it.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Um, I like Shadow of Colossus. I like Ico. I actually like Ico more than Shadow of the Colossus, which I know is a very controversial take. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I like his games. I play them, but I'm not like how do I put this? I feel like the wow factor for his games were very PS2. They were in that era. If that makes any sense.
Right.
Uh
We can do things like this now.
yeah,
It's not
exactly.
this stuff's not uncommon anymore, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And
Just
it's
good
not to
games.
take away from what he's done and like the accomplishments he's done and everything. Like he definitely transformed the way you storytell in games and stuff like that. Cause like a lot of his games don't have any dialogue or anything in them. They tell environmental storytelling. So I think a lot of people fell in love with that, which I did too. But like I said, we also have games who've taken that mantle and then elevated it already. So I mean, I am interested in seeing what he's gonna do, or is he just gonna retread old ground? So
Right.
um
Right.
that's my take on that.
Okay. Um Next game was from Hazelight Studios. And it's called Split Fiction. So this is a game. Their first game was It Takes Two, which was a strictly co-op game that they made. This was, I think, this was under the EA Originals banner, I believe.
Mhm.
And that this is their second game. And it is a game basically. So two authors, and this takes place in some kind of futuristic world, somewhat. They go to this company that can like bring their worlds to life in some kind of VR, reality space of some sort. And these two authors get stuck together, and their worlds like mashed together into one. And that's the premise, and they get stuck. They can't get out of the simulation. So the whole game is them like going through their own creations and having to um, get out of their own creations basically to get back to the real world. But the split fiction part, this is what's cool, is one of the authors is a sci-fi author and the other author is a fantasy author. So the levels seem to kind of jump between fantasy levels and sci-fi levels, which is a very kind of cool, interesting concept actually. And this game looked
Yeah,
really cool to me personally. Um,
yeah, I'm very invested in this game. I think I'm gonna get this. I am gonna get this game as soon as it comes out. I like co-op games. I can play them with my wife, and this looks like a game she may actually like to play with me.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I may need to play with you too. I don't know if anybody else I know. So, Butch, are you going to be booked up on March 6th? Because that's
yeah,
when the
man.
game is launching, March 6th, 2025.
Yeah, I definitely play this with you because I like co-op games. So this
Yeah,
definitely looks like a cool
yeah.
co-op game to play.
No, and yeah, the thing they mentioned was every level is going to have different mechanics as well, which I think is a cool idea, right? It might be a situation where the execution on each individual one is going to vary a lot potentially, but
Yeah,
I do like a game that gives me variety. Like I liked that in Near Automata when you had those kind of weird sections where it would like turn into a different type of game, or
yeah,
something like the very beginning of the game. That's kind of like a weird like Galaga type thing, and stuff like I like it when games do that, and if they can pull it off successfully, that's great. So this game looks really cool. I'm definitely excited about this myself. I would recommend people check out the trailer for it. It is very it looks really good. Like the way the trailer looked, if that's how the game plays, like I don't know. I think this could be a very this game could take a lot of people by surprise. So which it probably shouldn't. It Takes Two was huge when it came out. It was
Yep.
up for game of the year, I think the year it came out. So it was a this studio's got some pedigree already to their name. So yeah. Anything else on that one?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right, next one is Steel Hunters. So this is from the developer of World of Tanks, Wargaming. It's a PvPvE third-person shooter that is going to be free to play, and it's going to have an experience similar to like Titanfall, where you can kind of control mechs, but you also play a character, running around outside of your mech. What did you think of this game?
So I didn't know about the part where you can run outside
It
of
didn't
the
look
mech.
like that through the trailer, but that's the description being given here. So,
Mm.
um,
So, I mean, I'm watching people play it like right now. It looks really
yeah,
cool. Um, I never was into the world of tanks, but I know people who love that game. That game has like a huge silent following. It's a
yeah,
huge silent following. Um, I don't know if you remember. This has happened a couple years back. You remember the guy who leaked uh our tank, like the U.S. Army's or the U.S. military's tanks weapon stuff? He
yeah.
leaked it. He leaked it on the World of Tanks forums because he was in an argument with someone else about a tank.
Mm.
He's like, I actually work for the U.S. military. I'm about to leak the documents. He leaked the documents to
Oh
prove his
man!
point.
Wow, dude. Okay.
Yeah, to prove
Yeah.
the point of a of an argument or whatever. But yeah, that's funny that these are. I didn't know these was made from the same guy. So um, I'm actually interested in seeing what they're gonna do because they are very from what I understand from like World of Tanks, that game's very good and
Mhm.
there's a lot of attention to detail. So I'm very interested in seeing what they're gonna do with a mech game that's like more fantasy as far as
Yeah.
sci-fi fiction rather,
Yeah.
and how they're gonna navigate that. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think the PVE aspect of it as well. I think that's really cool. Um, I actually like PvPvE games because like it's good for players who don't want to kill players all the time. They can do a little bit of both or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean I'm watching some gameplay because the beta is out or you can play it. Yeah, you can play the beta right now if you signed up for it. And so there are gameplay clips of this game out right now. Um
Yeah.
I mean it looks okay. It doesn't look like it's groundbreaking, but it looks like, a mech shooter or whatever.
Yeah. It looks
Third
like a
person mech shooter.
fast. Yeah. It definitely looks like a fast mech shooter. Certainly.
Yeah.
Um.
So if you're into that, then I this would probably be the game for you. I mean, I might jump into it and play every once in a while myself.
Yep. We did skip over one game actually. So
Oh, we did. Oh,
the rundown we're looking at doesn't seem to have everything. So I'm trying to comb through the video right now. So there was Outer Worlds 2 from Obsidian that was shown.
oh wow, they did skip over that. Holy shit.
Yep. There's actually a couple other ones too.
Oh
That
shit.
I'll try to get them all, but
Okay.
yeah. So Outer Worlds 2 from Obsidian. I mean, I'm not super interested in this. It really just looks like a sci-fi Fallout game, which I'm kind of whatever about. I don't know how you feel about this series though.
No, I mean, I tried Outer Worlds one. I put like maybe 10 to 15 hours into it, which I'm probably sure is not enough to get the full Outer Worlds experience. Um,
Yeah.
but I just wasn't interested in it, man. Like I tried to give it a chance. I was just like, I don't care. Like I don't care about the world or anything. Like the world doesn't seem as interesting as like the Fallout universe, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the characters don't seem as interesting and everything like that. It does feel like a parody of Fallout, in my opinion. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, and it seems like people aren't super impressed either. They're saying it looks very similar to the first game, but maybe there's like more creative guns and stuff. But so I don't know. It's not really for me necessarily. So all right. Then there was one called Arad um that was shown, which is like an anime looking um Genshin clone. That's kind of what it looks like to me. Personally, I'm trying to find the exact name of it. It was um hold on, look this up. Arad game. Let's see. Dungeons and Fighters Arad is what it's called. Um and yeah, I mean it looked like an anime game. We didn't really see a lot of gameplay necessarily here. It was a cinematic trailer, but definitely evoked very similar vibes to like Genshin Impact or Zenless Zone Zero, and etc. When I was watching this, I was like, dude, like, how many of these games can we possibly make at this point, where all the characters kind of look like they have this anime, this bright anime styling to them, and I don't know. It's like I'm weak for this stuff. Like, I'm definitely into this style of game, but I will say, like, I'm watching this trailer and I'm just like, dude, like, how many of these games have I seen at this point? Like, how many more can we possibly fucking fit in the market realistically?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, there were a lot of announcements like that, or just even, not even announcements, but like uh trailers for DLC, or like, hey, remember this game, guys? And it's like,
Yeah.
come back and play us. And I was just like, man, they are really milking this anime aesthetic. Like, it's kind of crazy how they're milking it to the
Well, I'm
point where it's
just
just like,
yeah, it's just like these characters that are like super hot, right? You get the like they're wearing like a dress, right? The female characters are wearing a dress. They have like the super long hair. Their boobs are huge, and they're like, and then they pull out like the fucking awesome electric sword, and they're like fucking doing like 50 slashes in 2 seconds. It's like I mean, I don't know. Like there is a point of diminishing returns with this shit for me. It's just I think we've gone over the event horizon with that personally, but I might be in a minority here. These games are all still very successful, so I don't
yeah,
think people are tired of this, but
I think they're really popular overseas, and a little bit here as well. But I think like people like our age who kind of grew up with the anime aesthetic, like we just like we don't really care about it anymore, or like we're
yeah,
falling out of love with it because it's becoming a little bit too much.
it's just a trope now. Like
Yeah,
I put the trailer in the chat. Like, go to the link and go to like 120 ish or 120, yeah, like 123. And like this character, I feel like I've seen this character like 800,000 times. Like this style of character. It's just I don't know. I'm over it. Personally, um, but we're gonna continue to make them. So um, I don't
oh
know anything about
yeah,
this.
I do remember. This is
Yeah,
a fighter. This is I think it's DFD, D and
yeah.
F. I
It's
think that's what it's called.
dungeon fighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I know it's like it's an actual fighter, but I don't know if this is like the actual fighting game.
I don't think so.
Like,
I think this is gonna be like an RPG.
okay.
Like
Yeah,
with
I mean,
the thought the vibe I'm getting is like it's gonna be a kind of a Genshin game, but maybe not. Maybe
this
I'm
is,
wrong.
the first comment said, "I feel like I've seen this game 6 or 7 times tonight." Exactly.
Yeah, man, dude, for real, no joke. So it's yeah, it's another one
Are
of
they like
those.
going to the same studio? Whoever's doing this, they're making a shit ton of money, bro. Like,
Yeah,
holy
I don't
shit.
know, man. I don't know. So all right, let's move on to the next game. Splitgate 2 was shown. Also, which Splitgate is like a FPS sort of Halo clone that has its own unique little mechanic with the whole portal thing that you can do in the
Yeah,
game.
it was made by some people who came from Halo over
Yeah,
to this. I never really got into Splitgate. I tried to get into it because my friends were like, "Oh my god, bro, you gotta play Splitgate. It's so fun." And I'm like, "All right, I'll play it." I'm like, "This is just Halo." Like, I'm like, just go
yeah,
back and play Halo, bro.
yeah,
Because it was on PlayStation or whatever. And yeah, like my friends, like, I mean, sometimes some of my friends can be like, they don't realize it, but they can be like really PlayStation fucking ponies, bro. And I'm just like, this is
yeah.
just Halo, bro. Like, go back and play Halo. And this one looks a little bit more different. From the trailer they showed, the gameplay looks like it
Hmm.
evolved a little bit more from Halo to like a more modernized version of what we expect a Halo game to be,
Yeah,
with like portal mechanics, obviously Splitgate. Um, I mean, it looks cool. I is enough to move me and like get me hyped for it? Not really, in my opinion. That's just me though. I mean, I know a lot of people probably were super hyped for it, but I'm not
yeah.
too. hype for it.
No, yeah, I'm in the same boat. Um, I'm good on arena shooters for the most part. So at this point,
Can you send me
um,
the link of the video you're watching or you're using? 'Cause I'm on the Game
um,
Awards one, but it's like super long. It's not
no, I'm not using that. I'm following this now.
okay.
It's a little difficult, but we're making it work. Next thing shown was from Gotoku, which is the Yakuza developer, which is Project Century, which is going to be a looks like an older school Yakuza game. It's going to take place in 1915 Japan, but it's going to be going back to the action roots of Yakuza, which has moved towards a turn-based combat style in the more recent games. So this may be exciting for people because I'm sure there are some people who are disappointed with that switch in genre that happened with the main series. So this certainly looked definitely had an evocative look to it for sure. Very violent as well. But have you played any Yakuza games?
Yeah, I played Yakuza 1, 2, and 3. I
Okay.
haven't played. I didn't play the newer ones yet, and I haven't played 4, 5, or 6 or 7, for that matter. But uh, no, I mean like their style of games, they have like they're more brawler type action game combat type
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
You can
Right.
usually in the Yakuza games you can switch between 4 styles while you're fighting
Yep.
somebody. Um, I like them a lot. You can do combos and stuff like that. Like I said, it's like a brawler meets action, character action combat type game with some RPG elements because you can do a ton. What I mean, a ton of side content in these games. There are actually whole communities dedicated to like some of the side games in Yakuza.
Yep.
Um, so uh, I'm actually, I'm actually interested in this game. And I like how the combat looks more realistic in a way. Um, so yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. I'm sorry, my wife is calling me. Give me one
All good.
second.
All good. Yeah, for me, I mean, I've never played the Yakuza games. I've always been interested in them, but it's just not a series. Like it feels like a series that's got so many entries now that I'm so far behind. I don't have the time to play through 10 fucking games for a series like this, and unfortunately this is actually a series where you really need to have played them all, cuz even if you wanted to jump into like Infinite Wealth or something, a lot of characters from previous games are still in these newer games. So I think like the main character from the first several Yakuza games is one of your party members in Infinite Wealth, is from what I understand. So this isn't a series you can just jump into and play like the eighth game and get everything. So that's kind of my main issue. This might be a good one to jump into though because it's taking place way back in the early 20th century Japan. So this is before any of the older games, certainly. So that one's definitely interesting. They also showed a second game that this studio is working on though, is Virtua Fighter, which we did actually see some gameplay in this trailer. It looked like oh, actually, sorry, this wasn't for Virtua Fighter that we saw that, I don't think.
No,
But
they did show Virtual Fighter. They showed Virtual Fighter first, and then they showed
yeah,
1914 or
then they showed the
uh,
yes,
Project whatever. I forgot what it's
Century or
called, but
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Um yeah, and I mean, dude, how long has it been since we had a Virtua Fighter? It's been a while,
I
right?
want to. Yeah, it's been a while. I want to say they did try to come back like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, but it didn't do too well.
Yeah.
They tried to release it as like a free to play game, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
But the series has always been known to be like kind of hard to play, or not hard to play, but like a little bit more. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's a little bit more. It's different. It's different from like DOA and Tekken, but I feel like it always been like a nice blend between Dead or Alive and Tekken, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it never
Yeah.
just took off in my opinion for some reason. So like like Dead or Alive or Tekken did, but even Dead or Alive is not really around anymore like that. They had the free to play version of it, but
Yep.
it's not like a Tekken or anything like that. That makes any sense. So
Yep. There's a lot of competition in that genre too. Fighters,
yeah,
it's hard nowadays. I feel like to really break in to it. So that'll be interesting for fighting games fans. Then next thing that was shown was, dude, this came out of nowhere, man. Was uh a fucking new Turok game, Turok Origins, which is
yeah,
going to be
man.
a third person shooter that looks to be co-op in some way as well. Um, did this get you hype?
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually spoiled myself. I saw this while we were recording. I saw someone posted like in my group chat,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah,
like, I had to mute my mic because I was like super hyped for it. Because I saw the trailer, I was like, oh my god, this looks fucking dope as fuck, man. Like, and I'm glad they're getting away from the first person and they're just doing third person. Because Turok has always been like first person, but I've always been like a Turok fan since like N64, the first Turok game, and
yeah,
it just never tried. Even when it tried to revive itself, it never did a good job.
yeah,
But this one looks like it actually is going to try to be a little bit in the same stratosphere, but like different. If that makes any sense, and I like that.
yeah. Yeah, they did show actual gameplay too, and it's definitely got
Yeah,
a I don't know. It looks pretty good. Like I
yeah,
think it is a good showing here. So there's definitely like a Monster Hunter-ish vibe though with the giant dinosaurs. That'll be um interesting, I guess, to see how that plays in actual gameplay with huge T-Rexes and shit. But so we'll see. That is coming in. I don't think they gave a date for it actually. Yeah, they didn't. Um, so we don't know release timing for it, but that game is coming. So okay. Continuing on, because yeah, there was a ton of shit. There was a Pal World update, whatever. There was a Warframe update, Helldivers 2 update, that they announced. Let's see. Oh, the next one. Okay, this one was a big surprise as well. So Onimusha Way of the Sword is coming in 2026. This was a big announcement, dude, in my opinion. Um because we haven't had an Onimusha game in a very, very long time, right?
a very long time. Yeah.
Like PS2
Um,
long time, right?
I think they have one on the PS3. I want to say they have one on the PS3. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was PS2. I mean, they just did the remasters or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I've been looking forward to Onimusha. I've been wanting Onimusha to come back for a while. Um, I'm glad it's finally coming back. I'm hoping. One thing I'm scared of though, which I did say, like if it was to come back, they're most likely going to do this. I'm praying they do not make it a Souls like.
That's what it
I'm
looks
praying that they
like.
make I'm praying they make it its own thing. You can like
Well,
take elements from Souls, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Or take elements from like what's the game, Ghost of Tsushima or something like that, but I
yeah,
really just want it to be its own thing. I mean, I understand they will have to revamp this game because this game was built off of the Resident Evil engine, so you were still like using tank controls and it was an action game on top of that, if that makes any sense. It was crazy,
yeah.
but it worked. um
Well,
so they would have to actually build the game from the ground up
yeah,
again, like to kind of like as far as like the look and feel of it, rather. The last game they made, which was I forgot what it was called. It wasn't Way of the Sword. That's the one this was called. Dawn of Dreams. That one was a like a full fledged action game, but it kind of reminded me of more so of
hmm,
what you call it, like Dynasty Warriors type. That's what it looked like to me when I played Dawn of Dreams. So that was the last game to be released though
yeah,
out of the Onimusha franchise. But it was more so, like I said, of that Dynasty Warriors type gameplay. But it didn't have like full fledged armies and stuff like that you're fighting against. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that, like I said, I'm hoping they don't really do that. Do you think they're gonna do that? That's what it looks like to you?
Yeah, so no, I'm looking at the trailer again. I think that's an unfair way to categorize it, right? I think level design might mirror Souls and stuff now because that's kind of how these games go at this point. But gameplay wise, it actually looks a little bit more. There's a lot of I don't know, like finishers, grabs, things like that. This is stuff that we don't really see in Souls too much. Or at least earlier Souls games, I guess I should say. There seems to be a little bit more like because there's like that giant boss that he like swings around or whatever, like pushes
Yeah,
off and parries and stuff like that kind of shit we don't really see in Souls games. So
yeah.
um, so it may be a little bit different, which would be good. I think it would need to kind of form its own identity as an action game. Certainly, obviously, I mean, Onimusha was first, right? So, um, certainly, it has its own style that it's had in the past, but it's been so long. It's like you kind of have to redefine what it is now
Yeah, like
in
I
the
said,
modern
the
era. So,
Only Musha was built off the back of like the Resident Evil engine and everything of that nature. Not just the engine, but the gameplay as well. You were essentially playing like old school Resident Evil, but with a sword, and you
yeah,
had action moves that you can do, and you can unlock certain things. But it was still the fixed camera angle and everything
yeah,
of that nature. So, and then in the later games, they kind of like improved it, but it was
yep,
still like it was still built off that premise. If that makes any sense, the
yep,
later games kind of reminded me of like more so of Onimusha 3, for instance, kind of reminded me more so of Ninja Gaiden, but it wasn't as dialed in as Ninja Gaiden was. If that makes any sense. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, this was a big night for Capcom, so this was one of the first things they showed, but big night for them as well. So moving on, the Dungeon and Fighter game, Arad, we already talked about. Then the next thing was the first Berserker, Kazan was shown. And I don't know if we got any gameplay here.
They
Um,
actually, I thought they released a demo for that like a couple months ago.
maybe. They this was a release date trailer though, ultimately, so it was mostly cinematic on March 27th next year. Um,
Yeah, it's called the first Berserker Kazan.
yeah. I mean, it looks clearly very brutal and bloody
Yeah,
for
so this
sure.
game had a actual beta that released a couple months ago, and people beta
Gotcha.
tested the game. It was an open beta test. You signed up for it, you can play it. It was like a demo,
Yep.
and they got a lot of feedback from it. I mean, it's more so. This is the game that looks like almost like an anime Souls, but certain
Yeah.
meets text Sekiro thing.
Yep. I'm
Um,
seeing it now. Yeah, there was gameplay. There was a
yeah,
gameplay trailer 9 months ago. That's right.
yeah.
I remember this game. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people like the game, but I did hear some feedback from it saying like they need to improve this mechanic and that mechanic and everything. Um, I wasn't really too interested in it. I think at the time I was playing like Black Myth Wukong, so
Right.
when the beta
Stellar
came out, so,
Blade. I mean, we've played a lot of
yeah,
this shit this year. you know.
yeah. So I
So
really wasn't too interested in it uh, right now, and I don't. I may give it a shot when it comes out, but it's definitely not going to be like a first day buy for me. You know?
yeah. I mean, it looks good. I do these environments. This is another trope I'm just kind of getting tired of. Where like these games, these types of games, they're always in these like ruined environments. It's like everything's fucking broken and destroyed, and it's just like I don't know. Like a little tired of this aesthetic too, somewhat, to be honest with you. Um, it's just like because this game, from an environment standpoint, to me, just looks really generic. Like the character looks good and the enemies look pretty good, but the actual environments you're running around in, just like it just looks like so many other games. Um,
Yeah,
so I this is something I've been thinking about a lot. Actually, is like at this point in gaming, I feel like we were hitting a saturation point with almost everything, like almost every genre. It's like is this just what gaming's going to be going forward? It's like where do we get the innovation, the new ideas, the unique stuff? It's like is it really just going to be super rare? And most of the time, it's just like derivative stuff that we've seen before from different studios. It's like I don't know. Like this was a great showing, but there were definitely a few games like this, that a Rod trailer, where I was just like, man, I feel like I've seen this game a million times. So
Yeah, it was just I don't know, man. It was just not the best. I mean, not, I mean, it's this trade. This not. It's just right now. I think we're in this, like you said, oversaturated period. Um, I don't really say too much anymore because I at risk of like sounding like my age or whatever the fuck. So I'm just like, whatever,
Yeah.
man. Like, if y'all like it, I love it. But there is definitely like, um, I think millennials are very unique in the first being the first generation of like I don't want to say real gamers because you like Gen X, like I was playing games in the arcade thing. And it's like, yeah, but okay, you're gaming, but like you weren't like the level of games that millennials were exposed to was like not the level that Gen X was, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
Like we started getting like real narrative games and stuff like that. Even from like the NES all the way to the PlayStation 1 and stuff like that, like real narratives being spun up, real genres are being defined and everything of that nature. And I feel like now us being who we are, we're in our 30s and everything like that. We've seen a lot of this shit, and it's just like, oh, this is like the same shit, but with a prettier thing. Like that's when I saw the Berserker thing, I was just like, oh, this is. And I hate doing comparisons, but it's like, oh, this is just you know Bloodborne meets Sekiro, cool, I
Yeah.
guess. Like, whatever. And then even like the games that we like this year, like, Black Myth Wukong and Stellar Blade, it's like that same aspect of what they're trying to do, the level design. It's not necessarily the game is Souls like, but it's just like the level design is clearly inspired by, Souls or whatever the fuck. And
Hmm.
um yeah, it just gets tiring after a while, oversaturated.
Yeah. For sure. All right. We're gonna blast through. We need to blast. This next section is just a lot of like games updates for games that already exist. So, there was let's see, Dying Light: The Beast. It's a new DLC for Dying Light 2, I think. Looks like more Dying Light. Hunt Showdown 1896. Post Malone's Murder Circus is now
Yeah, I saw
live.
that.
What the fuck are we doing, man? This is another thing I'm getting tired of. Is um celebrities in games, number one. Number two is just all these crossovers with games too. It's just I'm like it's too much, man. Like I don't know. I feel like there's a whole episode we could do about like crossovers and cameos and shit in video games because I think it's gotten out of control. Like when I saw Post Malone's face, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what is this? Like, it's literally Post Malone in like the 1800s running a circus. Like, what? Okay, all right, fine, whatever you want, man. Whatever you want, Hunt Showdown. Um, which I'm gonna bet this pissed their fans off because wasn't Hunt the game that said they were never gonna do shit like this, and here we are, and they're doing shit like this.
I
It's
I
like
didn't know they said that. Like
I'm
that's
pretty
very
sure
interesting.
that's the game that said that. Yeah, and they've been doing these like they've started doing these like collabs and shit because obviously it makes a shitload of money. So, all right. And then after that was a Squid Game Unleashed game, which looks so fucking bad, dude. Like, did you watch this trailer?
No, I don't think I did. What is it
Oh
called?
yikes! Look it up. Look it up. It's so bad. Like it. It just looks like a packaged like mini game, like a bunch of mini games.
Oh
Um.
yeah, this game. Oh my god, dude. What the fuck is this, bro?
Yeah.
I did see this. Yeah, this is a Netflix game. Oh, suck my dick. I fucking hate Netflix, bro. Like I'm so tired of Netflix, man. Like
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Next was a new game from the Overcooked team. Stage Fright, which is going to be a two-player split-screen co-op adventure. Anything to say on this one? I don't personally care too much, but
no, not really.
okay. Then after that was a Game of Thrones game, which feels 7 years too late. Game of Thrones game. It's going to have Kit Harrington in it as Jon Snow. It's called Game of Thrones King's Road, and you're going to play somebody from the Night's Watch, seemingly going around the realm trying to gather support for the Night's Watch, which is a cool concept, certainly. And I'm assuming it's probably going to be some type of RPG of some sort, but, um, but Yeah, there was some gameplay in here too, I think.
Yeah, they show a little bit of gameplay.
It looked
Uh,
pretty good actually. Like it looked decent, for sure. So, um, but clearly this is taking place in the TV show version of the Game of Thrones universe, which again feels like 7 years too late, given that the show ended like 4 years ago or 5 years ago. So,
yeah,
um,
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really too um stoked for that. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Even the graphics looked like it was 4 years too late. I
yeah,
was just like, yeah, I don't know. Oh, like I said, I'm not even a big graphics person, but I was just like, an IP as big as this does deserve a little bit more. But just like, if you're gonna do like, I don't know, I just would rather have the graphics be a little bit more stylized than going for like the realistic take that they did with this one. In my
yeah,
opinion,
yeah.
um, because yeah, I don't know, because I think we
Oh
skipped
man.
like Borderlands 4, right? Or are you just trying to
Um,
get the little ones out the way first?
did I
'Cause
skip
I'm going through
Borderlands
the
4?
actual I'm going through the actual, like, video. I was going through, like, actual
Oh,
video and
okay.
stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think you're right. I've gotten
Yeah.
lost between the two different things we're doing. I think next time I do this, I'm gonna write this down as I watch it because trying to find a fucking article that summarizes this shit is impossible. So,
Yeah, yeah, I'm
um,
just skipping through and stuff like that. I mean, there are a couple other games like, Black Frost, that it was a side-scrolling game, looks like a
mhm.
side-scrolling post-apocalyptic game. That
Yep.
looks pretty cool. Um, and then, yeah, Borderlands gets shown, Borderlands 4. So,
I
I
guess
am
I
interested.
probably subconsciously just didn't want to talk about it. So,
Okay,
but
so
no,
so
we
you
have to
you
talk about it. We have to talk
so
about it.
I
I
yeah,
mean,
I thought it looked cool, but what did you think? I
okay.
know when Randy Pitchford walked on the stage, you're just like, I'm gonna blow my own head off. But
Like,
like
no, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to like give him the finger through my computer screen. Like, this dude is such a fucking blowhard. Oh my god. Like, I can't stand Randy Pitchford. Dude, he has been hyping this trailer on Twitter for the last week and a fucking half. He can't shut his goddamn mouth. Like, like I'm sure his team is probably like, Randy, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, you are hyping this trailer to the point where there's no shot we're gonna fucking meet this hype that you're building, which is exactly what happened. Dude, they showed this trailer and he goes on stage and he's like, ha, 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 I'm sure you guys don't want to see me up here talking. You just want to see the Borderlands 4 trailer. Like, it's like, shut up and show the fucking trailer, okay, Randy? So they finally show the trailer, and I'm like, bro, if you told me this was Borderlands 2, I wouldn't, I would say you're not lying. Like, it doesn't look like a fucking modern video game. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, yes, Borderlands is stylized, but it doesn't look nothing they showed in that trailer looks anything different from anything I've seen in Borderlands 3 or Borderlands 2. Like, it just, it's, will I play it?
really, I think the graphics look better.
Oh my god, let me pull this fucking thing up again. Jesus Christ. I
I
remember
think you're
watching this
jaded. I think
trailer.
you're just so
No, I
jaded
mean
right
I
now.
clearly am jaded. Absolutely am jaded, but when the gameplay part of the trailer showed up, like hold on, let's see. Let's see. No, dude, I'm sorry. Yeah, the lighting's better, the colors are a little better, but I mean it just looks like every other Borderlands game. So I'm like, oh, there's a giant psycho with like two fucking vibro swords or something. Cool, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think there's. I think they've lost the plot with what made this franchise fun early on, and I think they're lost personally. And I don't expect this game to change my fucking mind. The Vault Hunters that they showed look so fucking generic and boring. Like, they don't look interesting at all. None of them. Like, they're totally over designed, some of them, and but they don't look distinctive at all. It's like they just look like a bunch of fucking regular people that would be they look like they could be NPCs running around that you would talk to in a Borderlands game. Like they don't look interesting to me. I don't know. Do you feel differently?
Uh,
Compare this to like Borderlands 2 with like Zero and Krieg and fucking the
so I'm gonna send
Gunzerker.
you.
Like,
So are these four people your hunters?
yeah, if you're looking at from left to right, you got a dude, female with the pink coat, big dude, and then another female character.
Oh, those are your Vault Hunters. Wow, they look very.
So you don't even know which ones were the Vault Hunters. That's how generic they look.
I
It's
didn't
like
know those were the Vault. I thought the Vault Hunters were like the lady with the gold on her.
no,
Uh,
no, she's one of the villains, I think,
she's one of the villains.
or
Holy
maybe a
shit, she's
character, maybe one of the characters you're working with. I don't know, but
yeah.
yeah,
Maybe
I
she's
don't.
one of the characters you're working with. I
Yeah,
thought she was the actual Vault Hunter, one of the Vault
no,
Hunters. Yeah,
nope,
you're right. I mean, they don't look. I can't believe those are the Vault Hunters. Holy shit, they look so fucking generic,
boring.
dude.
Oh, those might be skins you're looking at. Maybe that might have been a
Okay, maybe
skin
the
for one of the characters.
okay, maybe that's what it was then.
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not excited personally.
Did
I'm
they
at the
do that
point
on
with
purpose?
Borderlands. Say that again.
So did they make them look generic like that on purpose
I don't know.
for skins? That's crazy. They did that.
Maybe they're trying to sell skins or something, dude, to make them look cool. Like you have to spend money to make your characters look cool, even though the game's first person. It's like, which makes no fucking sense at all. So no, this series to me, like, at the beginning of the trailer, before the gameplay, the two armies like clashing or whatever, I was like, okay, so you made two armies. You're the criticism of the last game was that your villains were annoying. They talked too much. They were fucking obnoxious characters. So what do? They take that feedback and they make two villain factions where nobody says a word. Okay, cool, great. So we're just gonna swing the pendulum all the way the other direction, and it's like now they're boring because they don't say anything. It's like I don't think they understand. I don't think they understand why people liked Borderlands 2. I really don't think they understand it. Like I they just don't. I think it's pretty obvious they don't. So I'm not I'm not particularly excited for this, but it's coming to 2025. I'm sure we'll see more gameplay soon, and they'll get more into what the Vault Hunters do and everything, and what this game is about. But and yeah, you're right, Montrell. I am a jaded fucking fan. So if you like Borderlands, this looks like more Borderlands, right? If you liked
I
Borderlands 3,
mean,
this looks like more of that for
you
sure.
you have a point because I did not know those were the Vault Hunters. I thought those were like NPCs that were helping you or something
Nope,
like that.
those are your playable characters.
They do look very fucking generic. They have no redeeming qualities about them at all.
No, the only one is the one with the pink fucking suit on, which is the Siren, I think. And why does every Siren they make like I don't know. I
Look
don't
like an
know, man.
emo.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like they either look like an emo or they're like a buff fucking, bodybuilder like Amara from the last game. Um I just think they're stuck in like 2008. That's what Borderlands feels like to me. Like they're just stuck in 2008 and they'd have never like grown out of that phase. Um
I think we know why they're stuck in 2008, but
yeah.
I think it's because of Randy. A lot of people are stuck there in 2008.
Mhm.
Randy Pitchford and everything like that. So
Yeah. So all right, let's stop talking about this game. I'm just going to get mad.
all right,
All right, moving on. More of these small announcements. Was
Clive
Double
got
Dragon
announced for. Yeah,
for what?
next was Clive got announced for Tekken
Oh,
8.
I did skip that. I was actually hyped for that. I was like, "Fuck yeah, man! He's perfect for a fighting game. Talking shit, one-liners. I love it, man. No, that's awesome for Tekken.
Yeah, Final Fantasy fan base will never never force me to hate this dude. He's probably one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters ever, dog. Like I don't
Yep,
know, in my opinion,
100%.
but that's just
All right,
yeah. So that was announced, and then I think you are right. After that, they did a
Double
couple of
Dragon
announcements for
Revive,
Double Dragon came out.
which
Um,
release date's October 2025 for that. You're into the Double Dragon games, right?
yeah, I mean, I never was a big Double Dragons fan. They were like the original side-scrolling beat 'em up, but my first
Yeah.
side-scrolling beat 'em up was Streets of Rage. So that's the
Uh,
franchise I'm into.
That's right. I always mix these up. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Because
they look very similar. Yeah.
didn't the last Streets of Rage have like dragon in the name or something? I feel
No.
like okay, I don't
No,
know. Maybe I'm just mixing them up.
they just look very similar in style, like very similar.
Okay.
There was a Double Dragon game that did come out. And then before Double Dragon, or it was Double Dragon, and then Capcom had Final Fight, which
Mhm.
was a side-scrolling game, and then in between that, Sega had Streets of Rage. So all of them look very similar, that 80s style beat 'em up type situation. So it's easy to
Mhm.
get them. If you're not into those genres, it's easy to get them mixed up. So I can't even fault you for that.
Yeah. Next was Solo Leveling Arise,
Oh
which
my god, bro! I was so mad when I found out that was a
s-
fucking cell phone game, bro.
well, A, it's a cell phone game. B, there's just a lot of spoilers in this trailer for the anime. And C, Solo Leveling kind of sucks. So
Oh, those,
um,
no, I'm so glad we're not popular because boy, would you be getting tore a new one right now.
no, I mean none of you have context. Okay, so if anybody was gonna come at me, you haven't read the whole. You haven't read the manga, like the or not the manga. It's not a manga. It's a visual novel, light novel.
Webtoon,
Yeah,
yeah.
web novel, whatever. You haven't read it all, so trust me, Solo Leveling sucks, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. The anime up until where it is great, but trust me, by the end of it, you're gonna agree, it sucks. Um,
Well, I think
next
the next one
is
they show before after I'm actually like watching the Game Awards or fast forwarding through it. They did show Mecha Break after that.
yep, I skipped that one too. Which that looks better than the Steel Warriors one.
Yeah,
I think
Still Warriors was like I always
Steel
said there's two
Hunters, Steel
versions of
Hunters.
Still
Sorry, yeah,
Hunters. I'm sorry, yeah, Still Hunters.
yeah,
There's always two versions of Mecha. There's the Western version. There's the Eastern. There's the like
yeah.
Japanese Eastern version, and this is Mecha Break is definitely the
Japanese Eastern
Japanese
version.
version,
Yeah,
yeah, Eastern version, and it looks very fucking good. I'm more so interested in this than Still Break, in my opinion, or Still
yeah. Steel
Hunters
or
rather.
Steel Hunters looks more like to me it looked like Transformers and like Zoids, in some way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's kind of what it maybe looked like more to me. So, um, yeah. But so after Solo Leveling was something called Screamer, which is going to be a street racer, in coming out in 2026. Had like anime cutscenes mixed in with like what looked like in-game footage as well. So I mean there's not much to take out of this trailer, but did you any interest in this one?
No, because I'm not into racers anymore, like street racers anymore, because every time they try to do a street racer, it's always free to play, and you got to spend money to
Okay.
unlock.
Well,
It's
this
just
is a
fucking annoying.
remake of a game. Like Screamer is a racing game from the 90s, I guess. So this is a remake
Okay,
of that. So maybe won't be, might be a full release, not a free to play game, but we'll see.
yeah, hopefully.
Um, then they showed The Last of Us Part 2 is getting a remaster on and it's coming to PC April 3rd, 2025. I mean, okay. you know, cool. They're
So I can get
unifying the look of all these games,
yeah,
They're trying to
so
get
so
them.
it can so it can get fucking blasted online again. Oh my god, I can't believe they did this. Oh.
Yeah.
We're
Yep.
gonna get the controversy all over again, and I just don't feel like dealing with it.
Yep. And then next game was Den of Wolves, which is a heist game from veterans of the Payday games. I don't know much to say on this one. You?
No, I'm actually like I think they do themselves a disservice when they mention like the previous games they work on,
Yeah.
because usually the spiritual successor is never. It's very rare when the spiritual successor is better than the original game.
Yep.
Can you think of one that has been better than the original? Like, oh, these are from the creators of Sonic, and then
No, never. Almost never.
yeah,
I
I
can't
can't think
even
of
think
one
of a
either.
single. Like the only one I can think of that ever had an impact on me was like Last Remnant, because I believe that was made by like, oh, this is made by like Final Fantasy veterans or whatever. Was what
But
Square
they were still under the
was
umbrella
saying.
of like Square, right?
Yeah, right. It wasn't like they
Yeah,
split off and made Last Remnant. So yo, you're right. I
yeah.
mean, I can't think of one. I mean, even it's even happening with Blizzard, right? Like these ex Blizzard veterans are making like a board game. It's like, all right, it's like it looks cool and it probably is going to be a lot of fun, but it's definitely not StarCraft. you know,
Exactly.
so
So it's like I don't know. Like my first realization of stuff like this was Mighty Number Nine.
mm,
When I was like,
hmm
"Oh, this is the ex producer of
yeah,
the Mega Man." I'm just
yeah,
like, I played the game. I was like, "Wow, okay, this is not as good
yikes.
as I thought it was." Yeah,
Does
it was an
Inafune know how to
okay
make a
game.
video game?
I don't know, man.
It's like how big of an impact on Mega Man did he really have? Oh God, you know,
So
yeah.
um, I don't know. The only time I can only think that it worked for me was Bayonetta. Like those are the creators from the creators of Devil May Cry. They made
Okay,
Bayonetta.
that's true.
That was it.
That's
That's
fair.
that was that's pretty much it for me though.
Definitely fair.
Um, yeah, that's it though. I can't think of anything else. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some
I'm
other
sure they
examples.
exist. I'm sure they exist,
Yeah,
but I'm not thinking of anything off the top of my head. But
yeah.
all right, we got into the Hoyoverse section of the show next. Zenless Zone
Oh
Zero
my
showed a new
god.
character.
Yeah.
All Guys Style Rail version 3.0. Don't care. All right. Then Fortnite. Lego Fortnite Odyssey, where you get to play as Lego characters, I guess, now is next. And then I don't know if this excites you or not, but Sonic Racing Cross Worlds got a teaser.
Nah, never was a big. I don't like kart racing games like
Gotcha.
that, except for Mario Kart and maybe
Okay.
Crash Racing. That's it.
Yep.
Everything else is ass.
Gotcha. And then we got a trailer for Mafia, the Old Country. This was actually a pretty lengthy trailer, but it was a lot of you're here for the family. You gotta take care of the family. If you betray us, you're betraying the whole family. It was a lot of that. Um, so
As an Italian, do you get annoyed with that shit? Like an
yes,
Italian
100%,
American?
dude. Oh my
Okay.
fucking god! Like I saw this and I'm like, oh, this could be kind of cool running around actually like Italy, But then the characters start talking and it's just very tropey Italian speech, you're here for the family, boy, you know, that kind of shit. And it's like, so I'm like, I couldn't play a whole game of that. I would want to blow my fucking brains out by the end of it. It's a lot of the Family Guy, boopity bop, yeah, that's stuff. And it's like, I'm good. Thank you. Have fun with that Mafia. So, but God forbid, I can't be offended though, Montrell, about that. So, it's
I
okay.
mean, you can. I mean, I thought that was like a legitimate complaint. I didn't see anybody like give backlash about the Italian stereotype in American,
Yeah, yeah,
media in general. But I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not
I
Italian, so
mean,
I can't say shit.
I don't know. The thing is, I don't know how true this stuff was 100 years ago. Like, do people actually talk like this? So I don't really know. So it's like it's just become a trope, though. Is like it's just become a trope with anything related to Italians. So it's like it's just annoying to see it all the time, So, but if that interests you, there will be a mafia game set in Sicily. So, which is
Yeah,
which
I
is
think it's a
inherently is a cool concept, but you know,
yeah, I think this is like a reboot of the Mafia game franchise in general.
okay,
Um,
gotcha.
because they did announce like later on in the show that like all the Mafia stuff on 2K's like website is like half off or some shit like that or whatever. So yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. Then we got an Infinity Nikki trailer. I mean, this game's out now, so
20 million users, bro.
it's
Crazy.
crazy, man. Because when I'm watching this, I'm like, this just looks like the this looks like the Genshin Impact like limited time events in a game, where it's just like, you're like playing like basketball with like a fucking a dandelion or something, it's like it's weird shit like that, or it just seems like you're fishing for flowers or something, it's a lot of that stuff, is what it looks like to me. And I'm like, I mean, I'm sure the game's chill, but it's like man, that was the shit in Genshin that made me want to murder myself, is having to do that stuff all the time. So um
So I do have one I'm going to talk to you about. We're probably going out of order here, but What did you think of Dying Light: The Beast?
We skipped over that. I mean, I don't care. I didn't play Dying Light 2, so I don't have like I'm not gonna play this until I do that, which I'm not sure
Mhm.
when that's gonna happen. So,
Okay.
I mean, it certainly looked like more Dying Light to me.
Okay.
So are you like interested in it or excited about it?
Um, I need to play Dying Light 2, like you said. I haven't played Dying Light 2. I played Dying Light 1 with my brother, and I have not played 2. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, Next game after Infinity Nikki was Dispatch. So Laura Bailey and Aaron Paul came on stage and they did a little bit about Laura Bailey being more famous than Aaron Paul, but um then they showed the game though, Dispatch, and this is going to be a seems like a um Telltale maybe style game where it's kind of a choice based game, narrative game, where you are playing a superhero who doesn't have any powers in a world full of superheroes. And Aaron Paul is going to be playing this character. He seems to be somebody who is an Iron Man type who uses like technology to fight, but he doesn't actually have his own power. Um, which is something he struggles with within the world. But he's joining like a hero dispatch agency, um, and that's like the premise for the early part of the game. It seems like so. This looked cool, certainly. I'm not like anticipating it necessarily, but if I see more of it and it's got the right price, I might check it out.
Yeah, I agree. It looks pretty cool, but not probably something I would play. But if you do like the narrative style games, I
Yeah.
think that would be cool for you guys.
Okay. Fair enough. And then moving on, this was the next big one from Capcom. They announced an Okami sequel. Okami sequel is what they called it. And
Yeah, man.
Jeff said on stage that Kamiya is back with Capcom, which is fucking huge, man. Like, this might have been the biggest announcement of the day. No?
In my opinion, not even the game, just him coming back to
I agree.
Capcom.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Yes.
Because like a lot of people don't understand, like this is the reason why Capcom was in the rut they were in before. Like from like 2008 and onward, they started purging all their like core studios in place of like getting more Western talent in Capcom.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that didn't work out because now everyone's going back to like the core aspects of gaming, which a lot of it is Japanese. Like Square Enix is doing it, Konami's doing it, and now Capcom. All these companies did that way back then, like 10 years, about 10 to 15 years ago. And this breakup was like one of the biggest breakups because
Yep.
Kenji Inafune, he got let go,
Yep.
and then they did the ugly box art Mega Man in Street Fighter versus Tekken, and that was like a
Yep.
huge slap in the face to a lot of people, in my opinion, or a lot of people
Yep.
were saying that. And then uh, Clover Studios, who were a part of like just Capcom in general, before they became Clover Studios. Obviously, Kamiya worked on the first Devil May Cry, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's Itsuno. He started working on Devil May Cry 2 and 3,
Yep.
and then something happened. We don't know what happened. Or no, Devil May Cry 4 came out in 2008. It didn't sell up to what Capcom did. It sold like 3 or 4 million copies though. It was something crazy. Like it was still good. Uh, but I remember during the development of that game, they cut the development in half. Because Dante just actually did in Devil May Cry 4, like he just revamps, he just does Nero's levels over again.
Yep.
And it was excuse me, it was actually revealed that he was supposed to have his own section in the game and everything like that. And then after that, DMC Devil May Cry comes out in 2013, I believe, 2013, 2012, and people were like,
Yep.
what the fuck is this? I liked the game, but I still was like, what the fuck is this? And next thing you know, Clover Studios, because Clover Studios released God Hand under Capcom and Okami. Okami was very successful, critically acclaimed. God Hand got shitted on by IGN. They gave it a 3. And this is when IGN still had a really good reputation in gaming.
Yeah.
And they gave that game a 3. That killed the game's sales for God Hand. And it didn't sell. But people who did buy the game, like myself, was like, this game's actually really fucking good. What the fuck? So yeah, then he went on to make Platinum Games, and then we got Bayonetta. So that's how we got Bayonetta. Um so it's interesting, like we did hear, you remember we read a story like a year ago or something about Platinum Games like looking to sell themselves and stuff like that. And
Yeah, and
I'm
I mean
wondering,
Camilla
yeah,
left,
Camille,
right?
Camille left,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was wondering what he was gonna do. So it's actually cool that he's coming back to make Clover Studios. It's actually Clovers with an S now, Studios. Or just Clover. I don't even think it's called Clover Studios anymore, just Clover, but I'm assuming. And yeah, now he's making Okami too. So uh
Yeah.
that breakup was like really, because he was ranting on Twitter about it.
Yeah.
And people would ask him. He did not want to talk about Capcom at all. He will
Yep.
block you if you talked about. I mean, he'll block you for anything. But that was like the first thing he would block you for. Uh, was
Yep.
if you even mentioned Capcom to him. Like you can like commend him on Devil May Cry 1. Like, hey man, I really love Devil May Cry. Thanks. But like anything after that, like, what do you think about the new Devil May Cry games? He just blocked you outright. He didn't ask you. I mean, he
Oh my
didn't want
god.
to do anything like that. So,
Yeah.
um, it was a very bad breakup. Nonetheless, this is like I'll give y'all an example. This is like fucking if Kojima went back to fucking
Konami. Yeah.
Konami. That's how big it is.
Yeah. That is pretty crazy. Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I remember this being very cantankerous, and I mean, back in the day, and Kamiya's always been very kind of, I don't know, like a got a mean attitude, I guess. Like
Yeah.
even when this was being announced, dude, they shot the camera over to him briefly, and he just looked like pissed, like he didn't want to be there, you know. Like I'm like, God damn, dude, like he's such a fucking sourpuss. Holy shit. But yeah, so this is a very surprising thing because I mean this opens up a lot for Capcom, doesn't it now? Where obviously he can come back and work on, you know, maybe Devil May Cry at some point, or DJ was mentioning Beautiful Joe
Yep.
series, which
Beautiful
has been
Joe. Yep.
dormant since he left, which would be fucking huge because those games rule. You know, that would be awesome if they brought that series back. So, it's I don't know, this is a big deal. This, I mean, this feels like a seismic shift. You know, it's an interesting development because it's possible maybe this opens the door for others. You know, probably not Kojima with Konami, but there's been a lot of big designers and developers who left their companies over the years. You know.
I mean, we say that. I will say this. I did read an article saying that the Metal Gear remake, like the Metal Gear 3 remake, they're keeping everything. Like
Yeah.
they really wanted to keep the spirit of what Kojima made with Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta.
Yeah.
I think they personally worked with him. I don't think he's going to get credits on it, but like I think they worked with him. I wouldn't be
Man, you
surprised if we
think
get
he
a
would
Metal
do?
Gear.
You think he would do that
I
though? I mean,
I wouldn't be.
this is the guy who's a meme for this shit. You know, here's presenting a Hideo Kojima game made by Hideo Kojima. You know, like fucking shit like that. Like,
I mean, Metal Gear Delta, Metal Gear Solid Delta. They say it's when it opens up, it says a Hideo Kojima game. So I would not be surprised, bro, if we get a Metal Gear 6 or something like that, or they retread and they like remake some of the old Metal Gear games or something like that with
mhm,
his blessing and with his
yeah,
like, he kind of works on it. I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised. I think what's happening is all the heads that were happening, like the CEOs and the executives that were there in the 2010s and early, a little bit earlier than that, when all this is going down, they're leaving now, and like their kids are like us, and they're like, bro, those were the guys that made your best games.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And like maybe their kids are taking over, or the younger generation of like CEOs and executives were like they played these games as well, and they're like, yeah, these are the guys that I grew up with, and maybe we should bury the hatchet with that shit. Um, so I don't know. It's I think this does open the door, like you said, for other studios to come back, or the studio heads to come back, or even just work in partnership with them. They don't even have to come back; they can just do like a partnership with them. Um, I can definitely see, like, after him getting done with Death Stranding 2, doing like a partnership with Konami and being like, yeah, we're going to be working in partnership with Konami and PlayStation to bring you another Metal Gear franchise or another Zone of Enders game or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be huge. All right, Okami 2 though. Anything you want to say about that? You excited? You ever
They
play
didn't show any
Okami?
gameplay, but I did love the music. They didn't show any
Okay,
gameplay though, so
right.
I do recommend people go back and play Okami. They have a remastered version of it. I'm assuming though, I really want to say I think the remaster had a lot to do with the success of us getting this, because a lot of people bought that remaster. It wasn't like breaking charts or anything like that, but a lot of people were like, especially a lot of younger generation who didn't experience the game, they were like, "Holy fuck, this is a really good game!" Like it is. It's a really cool game. It's a really unique game. It's an action game, but they incorporate the style of like Japanese art, or
Yeah,
Japanese painting and everything, calligraphy within it, and it's just
yeah,
like a really beautiful game.
yep. I've never played it, but I probably should at some
Yeah,
point.
I think you should. It's not like an actiony action game like I'll be playing. But it is a really cool, and I think it's a beautiful game. I think it's a really cool, beautiful game that you can appreciate.
Okay. All right. Then was release window for Crimson Desert, coming late 2025. And
I thought for the
then
longest this game was fake.
yeah. I don't even remember what this one was. I literally don't remember
Oh, you
this
know
one.
what? I'm thinking of the Chrono Odyssey. That's the one I think is fake. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I think is fake. Chrono Odyssey. They still don't have a release date for that.
Crimson Desert. Oh yeah, this was like the fantasy
Hmm.
game. Okay. Yeah, I totally forgot about this. I remember thinking through this one too. This is another one where I'm just sitting there watching this and they're like in a continent bathed with blood, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, bro. Like, I mean, who are these marketing people? Like, is this what they think gets us hyped? Is like you get some like Gaelic accent. I might be butchering what the accent the guy had, by the way, but it's like just talking about like continents fucking drowning in blood and shit, and it's like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, bro, let's go. It's like I don't know, man. I just
I
I'm
I
jaded. I'm too jaded. I'm too jaded. I know.
I no, I think in the environment that we're in, like the current culture they're in, like people want to be the strong man and stuff like that. So I think it kind of fits why they're going with that narrative, because
Yeah,
everybody wants to be the red pill or the big guy, and
yeah, yeah,
you know, do you have a six-figure salary, and
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
all this shit like
You're an
that. So
alpha. Yeah, are
yeah,
you an
you're
alpha
an alpha.
male?
That's the word
Like,
I'm looking for. You're an
yeah,
alpha male. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, to
So
be fair, the game outside of the marketing part of it, like,
it
actually
looks
does
good.
look pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
so, to be fair to this game, like, I actually think it looks pretty good. Admittedly, so it's definitely a very intriguing game. But coming late next year, it looks like. So, yeah, the combat looks pretty good. Like, it looks very interesting. There's some dragon riding they showed in there too. You're gonna be riding a dragon maybe, and there's some looks like light puzzle solving also in the game as well. So this one could be kind of cool,
Yeah.
actually, admittedly. But
Made from the
um
people who made Black Desert. So
yeah, okay, fair enough. All right, final announcement, and this was probably the big one of the day, obviously, is finally Sony and their team said something. We got the announcement of the next Naughty Dog game, which is called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. It looks like it's going to be kind of an 80s aesthetic spacefaring game of some sort. You're going to play a bounty hunter who is hunting bounty targets, it seems like, but also they did show a brief clip of potential gameplay fighting giant monsters as well, of some sort. And I don't know, what did you think of this trailer, Montrell?
I mean, It looked like a cool movie, to be honest with you. Like, I'm like, this would be a cool ass movie to watch or TV
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
I mean,
for
not
sure. Yeah,
not to say like their games are movies, but I'm just saying like it looked like a cool concept for a TV show. Um, it did look cool. And I was reading that for this game that they really wanted to go back to like their Naughty Dog roots. So I'm hoping
yeah,
it has more. They really want to go back to the Crash Bandicoot, the Uncharted, and all that shit like that. When they say Crash Bandicoot, it's like I always think that Naughty Dog like rejected their Crash Bandicoot and Jack and Daxter days. Like it always seemed like they kind of rejected it.
yeah,
But for them to actually acknowledge it in this trailer, saying like these are the games we made, not just The Last of Us and Uncharted, but we also made fucking Jack and Daxter and Crash Bandicoot. I'm hoping this game kind of returns back to those like those
yeah,
roots because those games were like not only were they fun, but they were funny as fuck as well. Like there was like some really cool games to play. Um, yeah, as much as I like Uncharted because Uncharted still had that wit to it. It was still like Drake was still like a witty guy and make jokes and everything of that nature. I feel like we lost all of that with with the Last of Us. Last of Us was just like a heartbleed, like everyone's dying, you're fucking dead, and then it's a sad world.
yeah,
And I hope Intergalactic is nothing like that. I really want something a little bit more upbeat, and yeah, I hope we get
yeah.
that.
Um, yeah, it's I think it looks really like I mean, Naughty Dog's like kind of unmatched with visuals, right? To
Yeah,
me in games. And this is definitely up to that standard for sure. This trailer, 100%. It's definitely got a movie like quality, which is also kind of up to their standard, right? For sure. And I think the actress that's playing the main character, her name is Tati Gabriel, and she's been in a lot of stuff. She was in The Walking Dead. She's been in a number of television shows. She's a fairly well known actress. So they're going in a different direction here, though. With like they're using somebody new as kind of one of their main characters, right? It's not going to be like Troy Baker. I'm sure he's in the fucking game somewhere, but I'm happy though to see that they're not like just kind of rehashing places we've been with the actors and actresses they're using necessarily. Music wise sounded really good. That was notable to me that they mentioned that the soundtrack's going to be made by Attican. I don't remember their names.
yeah, I can't remember
But
their names either, but yeah,
um I think it was like Aiden Ross and Attican something. I don't remember, or Atticus something. But that was notable as well. I think the other thing I noticed though, and I don't know if you noticed this, the
I
fucking
did.
product placement
I was just about to
was
say that. That was the first thing I noticed, bro. I was like, product placement
yeah.
much?
Why is there a Porsche logo on the back of the fucking spaceship? Like
Well,
I
not only that, it was a Porsche logo. I mean, obviously the Sony
and they
thing,
had the
right?
Sony
And
thing, right?
her
Yeah.
shoes had Adidas on it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is like? Did they have to get all this money for product placement?
Well,
I
that's what
think
I'm
that's why they did
wondering.
it.
I'm wondering what's the well, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Because they've not typically done this before, and maybe there's an in universe reason for this. Maybe these companies exist in this world and they're huge still, potentially. Like that might be an explanation. But if it's just pure product placement, like I'm very disappointed in that because the idea that Sony and Naughty Dog feel the need to do this is weird. It takes you out because they're trying to build immersive worlds, right? For sure. And there's nothing more like that could take you out of that more than product placement, especially in a sci-fi universe where I see the Porsche logo on a spaceship. Like what? Like that's
I
fucking
will
weird, man.
I will push back a little bit against that. I think that is a way to immerse the audience into a believable world. Um,
Yeah, but not sci-fi, right? Like you
I
like
think I think so. I think the reason I say sci-fi because I think like this is what the world is in the future, and then these are the companies that we know now. So
right.
if you're trying to get the current, like if you're trying to get us to look into the future, then you will have like stuff like I think about stuff like was it Judge Dredd that did this? I
Yeah.
forgot what movie did it or whatever. I think it was Judge Dredd, but like in the future, in that future, Taco Bell was like a, you know, a high end restaurant that you eat in, and then he was like Stallone's character. I think it was Stallone's character. Yeah, he was like, "What the fuck? Like, this is high end eating to y'all?" They're like, "Yeah, we Taco Bell is like one of the finest establishments in all the city." He's like,
Hmm.
"Okay, I guess."
Yeah.
Back when back in our time, right now, it's a fucking fast food joint. So I think the idea that Porsche breaks into the fucking space race and then they start making like regular fucking spaceships for people and everything like that, I think that's plausible. Now, like the shoes thing, I was just like, okay, that's blatant product placement, in my opinion. But like,
Well,
I don't know.
I think if you're gonna argue, like, I think I understand what you're saying, right? I don't
Yeah,
disagree. If it's explained in the world that these are existing companies still, and that Porsche went from being a car maker to becoming a spaceship maker, like that is a jump in logic that can make sense, right? I
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
that's like I think that's those are a series of events that could make sense. And if Adidas still exists, then sure, they're still making shoes, right? For
yeah. I
people.
mean, that makes
So
sense.
that
Yeah,
that makes sense too. It's just putting it in your first trailer though is really risky to me,
yeah,
because you're not like you don't have time to explain that, right? I'm sure in the game it will be explained somehow, in some form or fashion. So but it's like, to me, it like takes me out of the trailer when I see Porsche. I'm like, because I immediately noticed it. I think everybody did, right? They made it super obvious. They put it front and center. So it's
yeah.
like, it's kind of like, I don't know. But um
Yeah, and my first reaction towards it was disdain, but then I started thinking about movies like Back to the Future and other sci-fi movies. Like I said, like I believe it's Judge Dredd where I'm getting that image from. Um, where like they have this product placement but they're also explained within the lore of the world,
mhm,
or they like turn the product on its head, or the the company on its head and what it does. I think it will make sense, like if for instance in Mass Effect, if they did have companies like Ford and GM and stuff like that where there were the major driving components for like certain
mhm,
parts and stuff like that for ship manufacturing, I think that would have been cool and not just product placement. But that being said, I they didn't show like Taco Bell in the trailer of like that movie I'm thinking about. I'm pretty sure it's Judge Dredd, but that movie I'm talking about, or they didn't have that, and and I don't believe they had that in like Back to the Future. They may have had like the cassette player, but like it wasn't like the Casio cassette player, but it wasn't like the
yeah,
forefront of product placement or whatever.
mhm,
Um, I mean, Sony has always done this with all their stuff, like even Spider-Man, obviously like the Adidas thing with Spider-Man 2.
yeah,
And his portable player was like a some kind of Sony product thing or whatever that Miles is walking around with. So it's like they do it all the time. Or not all the time, but they have done it once before. But this is the first time it's been like how you said, like super blatant or whatever the case may be.
yeah. But getting back to the rest of the trailer, I think this world, they've already set this up to be very intriguing. That quote at the beginning that they put on that like cryptic, made up text or whatever, was from, it said, from 1986, which is very interesting. So this is clearly, there's probably an alternate timeline thing going on here, with, whatever happened, because I believe the planet she was going to, the agent character mentions that it's a Semperian world or something like that. So meaning that maybe this is like an ancient civilization that fell apart or something,
Hmm.
which might connect to that giant robot enemy that she was getting ready to fight at the end of the end of the trailer. Um, which so there's some interesting stuff there, as well, and I think people are already combing through this trailer for all sorts of like hints and symbols and interesting tidbits. There seems to be a lot there.
What really?
The
I mean, it's a new IP. I don't
I
know.
mean, well, dude, they just flashed through a bunch of stuff, right? You saw that board she had with everything like thumbtacked on it with like the
Oh yeah.
picture and all that stuff. Like there was a group called the Five Aces or whatever that was on there. So there seems to be some lore already implicated there. Then there was that anime that was being shown on the TV.
Mm.
That is not a real anime. Like they made that up for the trailer, I think. And it definitely had heavy like old school 90s vibes, like Cowboy Bebop or like Akira type vibes for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of I think there's a lot to comb through in this trailer if you want to. I don't personally like to do that. I don't really want to know more than I notice personally, because I rather at this point, like most Naughty Dog games are pretty much a day one buy for me. I'm just gonna play them, so I'm like I'm sold. I'd like to see some gameplay. I definitely want to see some gameplay for sure, but outside of that, I'm kind of good. Like this set me up, and I'm happy with what I saw. So, but I don't think there was no like release window or anything for this though. I don't think at the end of the trailer. So, we don't know when it's coming. It probably, I would assume, is within the next couple of years, probably 2025 or 2026. But um, I hope it's sooner than later. But uh, what other things did you notice? Anything else you noticed with the trailer you want to talk through, or
No, it looks like you're gonna be like some kind of bounty hunter.
which is cool? That's a cool concept. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's always a good
Um,
protagonist to place you in the control of.
I one thing I always get scared of is I really hope we are not doing like some kind of generative uh worlds that we have to go to or whatever, like
Oh,
how they
like
did in No Man's
procedurally generated.
procedurally generated
I
stuff.
doubt it.
I always get scared of that with space games. I would just like fully fleshed out worlds that we can go to.
Yeah,
And like if it's like 3 or 4 and we get to explore the entire of that earth or that planet, that excuse me, that would be fine for me. I just don't want a Destiny type situation. That's the only thing I don't
yeah,
want.
yeah,
Or early No Man's Sky situation or whatever. Even though I don't think we're gonna get that from this. I do want to feel like I always did want a game where I can feel like, a Cowboy Bebop esque bounty hunter. And this looks like this is gonna fill that niche for me.
yeah.
Because it's just weird that we don't have a real game like that, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah, and Naughty Dog being the ones like this that they've never dabbled in sci-fi, so that's exciting in and of itself for sure.
yeah.
As well. So, the scene at the end too with the giant robot that she was running towards, like that looked like in-game footage to me.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it looked like it was.
the whole trailer was in-game footage, but I mean, it looked like the game actually being played in motion at the end,
Yeah,
and
no,
it looks
I think
really
it.
smooth.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like their take on the action combat game.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
which would be
surprised
kind
if
of
they
cool.
like. Yeah, they probably if they try something different and they try to go away from like either the God of War method or whatever, they just try to go straight action combat, or they do go like that God of War style combat, but like kind of mixing in with Ghost of Tsushima. They work with both of those teams to make what we have right now. Because I mean, their combat in their other games, like especially in fucking Last of Us 2, was fucking god. Like their gameplay has
Yeah,
been great. Like
yeah, yeah.
which is why I hate that people don't like Last of Us 2 because that actually has like the best gameplay out of like all the Last of Us
It's their
games.
best game in my opinion that they've
Yeah.
made. Um, and yeah, and I think that studio making a game now with the PS fully unhindered by technical specs with the PS5 and even the PS5 Pro, like I am very excited to see what they come up with, honestly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, same.
but there's one more thing we need to talk about with this trailer, unfortunately, and that is the anti I don't know how to say it, anti woke reaction
Wait,
to
there's a
this
local
game
oh my
because
god.
of the main character, right? She's got the shaved head. There one of the things on the side of the trailer that's being recommended to me is PlayStation mocked over Girl Boss Intergalactic. I'm like, what are we doing, man? Like, what is wrong with people? It's like we've talked about this before, right? We have gotten to the point where it's so simplistic, the hate for these things. It's literally woman in trailer, I hate game. It's gotten to that point. Black person in trailer, I hate game. It's like you realize how like you're not really thinking beyond a layer deep at this point with this stuff. It's like that's what we've come to. That's what it feels like to me,
Well,
you know?
you know what? I wasn't gonna bring it up, but like I watch Moist Critical a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because like he's like a reasonable YouTuber or whatever, and
Mhm.
he has like the same reaction that we had because a lot of people he was like people are trying to turn this into like the woke awards, the woke awards when like
Yeah.
nothing of that sort was happening. Like they had a little bit of everything in this trailer
Right.
or in these award shows and everything like that. There's not one moment. I mean, there were cringe moments, but it was like cringe, like just like you guys are trying a little bit too much there. But it wasn't
Yeah.
like cringe, like you're trying to teach me a lesson about the LGBT community or women are
Right. Yeah.
people.
Right.
It's like you're not teaching me that. You're just I never got none of that from any of these trailers.
Agreed.
Um, and even this trailer where like yeah, she clearly shaves her head off at the beginning of the game or whatever, or at the beginning of the trailer or whatever the case may be. Maybe there's some symbolic reason why she's doing that, or for a lot of women I know that actually cut their hair, they're just like, I'm tired of taking care of my hair, I'm about to cut it, and it's just
Yeah.
there's no like I'm trying to be like a man or a girl boss. There's no reason behind it. They just literally are tired of taking care of their hair because
Right.
the more hair you have, guys, the more you have to take care of it and the more time consuming it is, which is like the reason I cut my hair off. I was just like, bro, I'm tired of this shit. Like,
Well, it could be
cut this
practical
shit
too,
off.
right? This character is a bounty hunter, right? So they're
Yeah.
clearly in combat situations, and having long hair in a combat situation can be like a disadvantage, you know.
But
And
Justin, Summers has long hair in her helmet. What are you talking
oh my
about?
god, yeah, she wears a helmet though. Like, the hair's not flowing out of the helmet, you know. It's like so
It
clearly,
would probably make sense for her to cut her hair too. Like,
yeah. If she
just
wasn't wearing the helmet, yeah, it would, right? I don't know. I mean, it's just we had to mention it. I'm seeing it. You know, it's.
God forbid,
I'm
like
just so
Siri cuts her hair.
I'm so tired of this shit though. It's just, dude, it's become so stupid. It's like I don't know if real people are even like starting these things anymore. I'm wondering if this is like a bot driven thing that then people pick up, you know, and that's the cycle because this shit generates views. Unfortunately, you know, it really does. And it's like, yeah, I'm starting to wonder if this is like being done on purpose from a platform perspective to get people riled up having these discussions, and then people make videos about it, which then continues the conversation, and then you're cycling all these views and everybody's getting their ad money, and it's like this, like, yeah, there's a conspiracy there, but it would not surprise me at all that that shit is happening, you know. Like
I don't even think
I
it's a
don't know,
conspiracy at this point. I think it is.
definitely happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is like part bot engagement and then part they know it's going to get stuff riled up. I mean, to me, the crux of this was, or the straw that broke the camel's back for me with this was like Dragon Age Veilguard,
Yeah.
where one of my friends who doesn't really play like Dragon Age games like that, he was like, I don't know, man. I'm looking on YouTube and I'm just seeing that this game is a woke fest over there. I'm like, bro, just play the fucking game. I know you will like the game. Just play it. He plays the game, absolutely loves it. And he's like, yeah, I mean, they were conversations in there, but I can just avoid that shit. I didn't want to engage in it, so I avoided it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
like you can. And that's when I finally realized like how like I mean it was like, I mean I've been realized it, but it was like that was the cataclysm right there for me. I was just like, yeah, this is all this shit is just engagement farming. Like, especially when I saw like I was really disappointed when I saw Angry Joe's thing, and I thought he was gonna get like a really like fair analysis of the game, and he just kind of fell into the same thing as well, especially like in other people like the Act Man and everything like that. Um, I think they tried to give their fair analysis, but they teetered a little bit of being chronically online too much. And I
Yeah.
think that's a thing that both sides do. Both
Yeah.
sides are like just chronically online to the point where I had to step back. Like on Twitter, like I literally got off Twitter because the engagement, the site is ran by engagement as far as like negative engagement or whatever the case may be. So if you're on that too much, like for instance, I'll take this for instance. I got since I've been on Twitter for like a month or whatever. There was a whole exodus, a whole like war that happened on Twitter that I didn't even know about. You heard this anime called Dan? I think it's called Dan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just came out.
Yeah.
So apparently, like some like black artists or whatever, like they always do recreations of characters or whatever, and they made the Dan characters black. But like not in like any kind of protest or anything. They were just like, this would be cool if this is how they would look if they were black, and they made it a character, and then it was this whole war where the voice actors got involved and everything. Like they were in support of it, and like the dub voice actors got involved, and then like Japanese people got involved in it, and it was just a whole thing. And then now there are Japanese people going against like Western white people and everything. It's just like I'm just like I didn't know none of this shit. And you know how I knew that? When I just logged on real quick to like I think I still have a group chat on there, so I logged on real quick for the group chat, and I read all that, and I was just like, how you just scroll and open it up, and I was like, I'm gonna ignore all that shit. But just from like that 2 minutes, I known what the fuck was going on Twitter. I didn't even know it was going on, and I would have never known about that shit if I wouldn't have been on Twitter. So that's what I'm talking about. For like all these wars and all this woke mob, and is this too woke or is this not too woke? Is this a Nazi game and all this shit? Like this shit doesn't matter when you just log
no real people are talking about this, right?
Exactly.
Like, this is an online phenomenon. Like, I mean, dude, so here's a comment on here. This is just the kind of shit I'm talking about though. Like, is they literally just need to give her hair and make her face pretty and they can save this game. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like they don't even know, like, do they not know this is a real person? Like the model's based off of? Like, oh my god, man. Like, and then I see another sidebar video recommendation. The thumbnail is Tati Gabriel and then Neil Druckmann, and then it says, "What the fuck is this shit?" And then it says, "Naughty Dog destroyed for cringe trailer." Like, what are you talking about, dude? What the fuck? Who are these people, man? Like, I think everybody needs to get offline, man. Like, all of us. Like, this is just, it's too much. It's too much analysis. It's too much thinking. Like, go do something. Like, stop sitting here watching this trailer, picking it apart. It's like, just wait for the game and see what it is. And this is the other part that frustrates me, is all this prejudgment of a game, based off of a 4-minute trailer where we saw like very little gameplay. It's like, you don't know anything about the game. It's like, I don't know. Like, when we're analyzing these trailers, right? Like, we're trying to be fair to that fact, right? Like, we're trying to extrapolate what we see in the trailer to like a full game, but you can't really do that to a full degree, right? That's always a caveat with any analysis we're giving to these shows, right? So it's like, I don't know why people are so authoritative and definitive when they're talking about this stuff in these comments and stuff, and then these videos. It's like, you know nothing about the context of this game. You were given a 4-minute window into what is probably a 20 to 30 hour game. It's 4 minutes. It's like nothing. You're getting so little out of that. So I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's just irritating. So, anything else you want to say? Game looks good. I'm excited.
No, the game looks good. I don't know. I guess we're to the point now in society where women just have to be in a bikini again with bikini armor and fighting.
Giant boobs. Yep. That's the only acceptable
the pendulum
form
swung
they can take.
back the other way, all the way back the other way now. So,
which is crazy. Yeah, it's fucking nuts, dude. Yeah. So, all right. Rest of the Game Awards, outside of the announcements. So that was it for the announcements. The award show part. Astrobot won Game of the Year. Thank God.
Which is really, thank God it wasn't Shadow to Erdtree.
Which Erdtree got shut out. It didn't win anything.
Good. You know what? I have a conspiracy theory on that. I think they were ready to give Erdtree a lot of these awards, and then the backlash online. One of the rare times this shit works. they read the backlash online and were just like, okay, yeah, we can't do this. Like
Yeah.
for the integrity of this award show, we cannot do this.
Right.
That's what I personally think.
Yeah, there's no way for us to know, unfortunately, because
Yeah, I know.
they don't release the vote numbers. So
Yeah, I know.
there's no way for us to really know. But yeah, I think if Erdtree had won Game of the Year, it just would have been a joke. Like it would have ruined the whole show for me, honestly. So it's good. Astrobot got it. I haven't played Astrobot, neither of you. So I mean, I can't
It won
speak
like
to.
4 or 5 awards, man.
It
That's
won four.
crazy.
Yeah, it won Game of the Year. I think it was Best Direction as well. Yeah, studio slash game direction. Astrobot. What else did it win? Best action adventure game as well, and there was one more. I don't remember which one. I'm not seeing it here. But yeah, it won 4 awards, so they had a very very strong night. I mean, everything I heard of this game is that it is actually excellent. So
Yeah, no,
um,
I have it. I haven't played it yet, but I did buy it. I bought it 2 weeks ago, I believe.
yeah,
Well, yeah, everyone who played it just loves the game. It's like a calling. It's like a love letter to platformers, and especially like the platformers in the PlayStation ecoverse or ecosystem. So
well,
I
that was
wouldn't
a
be
really interesting. That was really interesting though during the speech. The guy giving the speech, the acceptance speech, he didn't say Nintendo, but he alluded to Nintendo being a huge influence for them too.
yeah.
For them to actually make a platformer, which is very interesting for somebody from Sony to be saying. So
Yeah, I just think Sony is still stuck up there, which we like those games, but they're still stuck up this realism thing that I think we need to get back to where games were fun. And
yeah,
yeah,
focused on fun.
yeah.
Outside of that, anything else from the show you want to call out?
No, I think we called out pretty much everything. I think this was overall a good show. Like I said, this is
Yeah.
probably one of their best shows in a while. One of the best announcements as far as stuff like that we've seen in a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, I mean, dude, we're the guy in the desert who needs water. Like this. We've been needing this for 2 years, probably. I feel
yeah,
like an actual announcement of these like announcements of this caliber. Like we've needed this for a while, dude. So
yeah, I agree. I just I'm glad we got something like this. This felt like E3, but like with like just fucking awards and everything like that. And I think this should be kind of like the standard going forward. I don't need an E3. I don't need. I mean, yeah, I can get state of plays, and actually, I don't need state of plays either. Nintendo Directs are the only ones that really do good, man. I'm sorry,
yeah,
like, which is interesting. We didn't see any Nintendo games here, by the
nope,
way.
nope.
So that's interesting.
They're saving it for uh Switch reveal. I think Switch 2. But did you one random question? Did you like the Muppet segments?
No, I skipped them.
Oh man. Okay. I guess I'm in a minority on this. Everybody hated the Muppet segments. I like the Muppets, man. I don't know. Their
So,
jokes are stupid, but they're funny, man. I don't know. I just think they're funny. I've always been a fan of the Muppets though, so I guess I'm in a minority there. Online. All right. Well, that was it. The Game Awards 2024. Good show. Good show from Jeff. I will say, Jeff, I felt like there was like 18 different moments where he sounded like he was gonna cry when he was announcing something. Just the he needs to chill out with the earnestness of like being like, we're seeing this game for the very first time. It's like, brother, like it's not that serious, Jeff. Like, Jesus Christ. Like like these people are like, yes, they're icons, some of them, but like let's bring it down a little bit. All right, you're just it's a award show. Okay, like I don't know, did you feel some of that coming from him
Oh
too?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I
Okay.
feel like I just feel like he was like really excited. I feel like he knew that this was going to be a really really good show, and he was just really excited to show everybody how good of a show it was. Because I think in my opinion, I think everyone was disappointed, including himself, in last year's show. Because we remember we watched last year's show. We were just like, meh, you know,
Yeah.
the announcements weren't there and everything like that. But this one was very organized. Uh, yeah, I don't know. This is the first time, like in my opinion, everything came together, and I guess I would be kind of emotional too if I was running something like this and everything came together correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
I
I
just feel like
understand though.
he
I
needs
I
more
just
self-awareness when he's like announcing the Elden Ring thing. I was like, he's like, from a studio you've all loved, you know. I'm just like, I don't, Jeff. All right, calm down,
yeah,
brother.
like yeah,
It's like
calm down.
it's
Like
not Elden Ring 2. Okay, it is exciting. It's a new FromSoft game, but it's just like an Elden Ring co-op game that like I kind of am guessing that like a fifth of the people who played Elden Ring are even going to play, maybe even less than that. Like this is not going to be a huge game. Like, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, um, but yeah. So, anyways, good show. Montreal, what are you doing with the rest of your day today? It's a Saturday.
uh nothing. I mean, if you're down to play something, we can.
Maybe you want to jump on some league?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the other day. I was gonna ask yesterday, but then I remember
Okay.
you were hanging out with your wife.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm down
Yeah,
for a league
I might be
today.
down. Let me I need to put this up and then I need to go do a couple other things real quick and then yeah, I might be able to jump on. So,
Okay, I will say this for my final thoughts. Like, I know this is not a lot of people, but on both sides of the spectrum, please just let this political shit go. Can we
mhm.
please stop the whole women? If it's too many women on the screen, then it's woke. If it's too many white men on the screen, then it's a Nazi anthem.
Racist. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like yeah.
it's racist or
Yeah.
whatever. It's really ruining a lot of video game conversations to the point where I don't even like getting on YouTube sometime about you stuff
Yeah.
because I know my recommended section is going to say something like what Justin said. Um, and unfortunately, sometimes it is bleeding into real life to where some of our friends may bring up a article that they see or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, shut the fuck up. I don't care.
Like we're not
Like,
really talking about this. Like I don't care,
yeah,
dude. Like
yeah,
like
exactly.
Naughty Dog's game's not woke because the fucking protagonist has a shaved head, is a female with a shaved head. Like, are we really talking about this right now? You know? It's like
It
Jesus.
even The Last of Us 2,
Yeah.
as
Oh my
woke as that
fucking god.
was, as woke as that was, right? The wokeness of it was just fucking Ellie kissing the woman, bro. That was the woke. No one ever tried to be like, Joel, I am a strong, independent gay woman. Now this is my
Yeah.
wife. And it's like there was
How dare you try to mansplain how to kill clickers to me, Joel? You know, yeah, there was none of that, dude. You know, and Joel just backs off as they get murdered, you know, eaten or whatever. He's just like, all right, well, I guess I should have mansplained it to you. No, there was no nothing like that. Okay.
nothing like that,
Um,
man.
yes, there was a trans character in the game. Okay, like it felt
And
very
it wasn't the
organic.
character that everybody thought it
No,
was.
it wasn't. And that's the thing that's so annoying about it is that it's like I don't know. Yes, Abby's fucking buff, but like
Buff women exist.
in the context of the game, it makes sense. Number one, and number two, what is wrong with a buff woman? Okay, like what is
Like
wrong with us?
they exist in the real world.
Yeah,
Like I don't
bro. Like, goddamn. Like, she was a very like military. She was in a very military mindset at that point in
bro.
time. Okay,
You
it's like
I can't find a video. I need to find this video. I'm gonna share it with you one day. There was a
yeah.
video analyzing what she was eating. It was like, there's no way she could get this buff off of that. This
What is
the standard.
wrong with us? Oh my god!
He
Holy
actually like
shit!
looked at the jars because you remember they're in the gym and like they had
Wow.
the food and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
like analyzing the jars and stuff like that. It was like, this is her caloric intake of calories she needed, and this is to get
Brother,
this buff. And I'm like,
do you think Neil was like whoever the fucking level designer was like, all right, make sure you put that jar of pickles right there, and then there's like a peanut jar over here, and then she's got her fucking muscle milk, you know, powder over here. You know, we need to make sure that's visible so people. No, he wasn't doing that. Okay, God, Jesus, like this is what I'm saying. We are over analyzing things. Okay, it's too much. Just like it's not that serious. Fuck.
Yeah, man. As a PTSD veteran from fucking the Gamergate wars, put the banner down, guys. The war is over. Like
Yeah.
it's
There's no
over.
need for
Nobody
the war. The war doesn't have to
nobody
happen.
won.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
nobody won.
No, nobody wins when we do this. Okay. It's like, it's just, it's too much, man.
Yeah, it's over, man. Just let it go.
Also, Microsoft, why the fuck did you install Teams on my fucking computer? God, what in the flying fuck is this shit?
Wait, they
Dudes.
did? Did they do it to me
Yeah.
too?
I have it on Windows 11. It's on my fucking home PC. I would never have installed fucking Teams. Get out of
It's on
here,
my PC
man.
too. Holy shit.
Dude, you can't uninstall it from the fucking program feature list. Oh my god. I gotta PowerShell this shit. Fuck you, Microsoft. Get out of here. Get out of my computer, bitch. Jesus. All right. On that note, Masha, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's go.
Right.
Let's get ourselves angry and go play some League.
All right.
And we hope you guys enjoyed this coverage of the Game Awards. This is a good show. I wish we could get more of these. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the nature of the industry now, right? Like it takes too long to make games. These games are too big and they cost too much to make, as we talked about, in the main episode this week. So this is just the nature of it. We're not going to get these shows very often as a result. So, all right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.